well, just as long as I get there safe, like I really don't care. Like,
but that's what submission is. That's what submission is that you.
Down that I think everybody is at some point deserving to receive love and to be even into marriage if they do aspire for marriage.
I believe that society shapes how we view things and how we look at things in our life.
Make your own bed. That's basically what Kevin Samuels is saying. His delivery is what people kind of throws people off. But basically,
aggressive or like violent, like where I think toxic masculinity is
no offense to men, that they also get this idea that, you know, women are just going to take care of them and everything is going to be like easy.
A domestic violence shelter, and he brought her up to be, you know, a $25,000.
Hell yeah, you need to judge in dating. It is what it is. You know, you can't not judge people just because you feel bad about it. Like, you need to know.
As much as I love my daughter, there are some harsh realities and some things that her mother and I teach her in order to help her to understand.
Like, I'm sure everyone knows a woman that, you know, had sex for a date. Called the
What's going on? Welcome back to CKQ Podcast. I'm your host, Clements, and before we get into the panelists, do me a favor, hit that like button. And if you like our content, subscribe to the channel for more content like this once a week, every Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. And here is the panel. Well, I'm missing one person, but he'll be here soon. We got Danielle.
Hi, my name's Danielle. You can find me on Instagram at FlyNurseMomWife and here on YouTube at My Sister's Keeper.
We got Chris.
hello, I'm Chris. I have a channel called The Blooming Ebony, and you can also follow me on Instagram at The Blooming Ebony. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, you guys.
Awesome. And no, that's a weird one. I don't like that one. There we go. John, well, his connection dropped off, but he'll be back soon. Knowledge and relationships, shout out to you guys. Simon, shout out to you, my man.
Hi.
Okay. You guys saw the questions. What did you think?
Your questions are always thought-provoking.
All right. Man, I wanted John here for this one, but we'll start it off anyway.
Then go to a different question. You don't have to go in order.
He'll still answer. What is a good man? What is an example? What is a good man? And what is an example? Danielle. What's a good man, Danielle?
A good man, someone who is God-fearing, someone who has integrity, someone who is a good leader, someone who is caring, good provider.
Okay. So this question, I decided to phrase it that way, but I'm also going to preface it this way. I don't want the bullet point answers. Okay. A lot of the times I always hear bullet point answers. Oh, loyal, he's got a firm handshake. He can pick up things from the third shelf, like I hate that crap. So I want like an actual example of what you would deem, like what can a man do that you would say like, wow, that's a good man. That's someone that I would actually want to be with. I have an example of an action.
So when I met my husband, I shouldn't share that though. Whoa.
Whoa.
What? Okay, no, I can share this. Okay, so when I met him, he his son was living with him. He left.
Okay.
He left his previous relationship, and his son preferred to be with him.
Okay.
And I mean, he was only 4, but still had the mind to choose. I want to be with my dad.
Okay.
And he took him and made it work. That's a good man.
So him deciding to take his son and to make it work.
Yes, because you don't meet a lot of men who can just take their kid. You know, men don't. I don't meet a lot of men who will take on raising that child alone, because I mean it is alone. The woman is not present. Like,
You don't think
absent fathers are not present. She's not present.
You don't think most men would want to?
Just because you want
I mean, your
to,
honest opinion.
would,
this is not like a
I don't think it's that men wouldn't want to, but I don't think that they would. I've not met men who could take that responsibility on full time and make it work.
Okay.
And just because a few or a lot of men could do it, don't mean a good man doesn't have to be far and few in between. Plenty of men could be good men. It's not like, you know, a rarity. I meet good men all the time.
Yeah, but so you know what, Chris, you go. You go first, and then I'll add a little bit more to that.
No bullet point answers?
No bullet point answer. You saw her face. She was like, "Damn, that's all I had."
Because I was gonna say, I agree with Danielle, but I can't say that now.
Yeah.
The bullet point answers are always easy.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's where if you go across any channel on YouTube, you'll hear, "Oh, a good man can pay the bills. A good man can wear a nice pair of khakis and look nice in them." Like, you know, good men. But but I want an example, like something that you would see a guy doing. You're like, wow, that's like I admire that. I want to be with that guy because he's able to do something like that.
Something small that my partner does if we ever go out at night, or really any time of the day, but especially at night, and he's going in but I'm not, like let's say I'm sitting in the car while he runs and does whatever he has to do, he'll like stand outside the car and like wait for me to lock the doors, and then he'll like smile at me and walk away just to make sure that
wait.
So after he gets out of the car,
okay,
he'll look at me and then be like, and he's telling me to lock the door. So I lock the door, he listens for it to lock, then he may test it, and then he'll walk away.
Okay.
Because I don't want to go inside to make sure I'm safe. And then another thing that he does, so he travels a lot for work. And so he'll send for me to go wherever he is. Yes. Danielle. That's my feeling exactly. And that's really nice. It's nice to know that, you know, he wants me around. Even when he's at work, he just wants to know that I'm somewhere close.
Okay.
Yeah.
100 Watts said, "I'm looking to get custody of all my kids now." Good for you, man. Good for you. A few good men. Well, I mean, I don't know. Simon, if you come up, I'd like you to explain what you mean by a few good men. Because I think there are a lot of good men out here.
Lots.
But, that's also what I wanted to preface it. There's a good man that's doing actions with an agenda. Would that still be considered a good man?
No.
Wait,
so if there's an agenda tied behind his actions, would he still be considered a good man?
No, he's calculated. I don't like that.
It depends on the agenda. I don't know.
Most of the time when somebody says an agenda, it's not a good thing.
Having this conversation, because I've had this conversation a couple of times, and what I've come up with so far is that a good man is someone that is thoughtful. That's the best way to describe it. I want to say that's probably the best bullet point of a good man is someone that is thoughtful. his actions have his actions have no agenda behind it. When there's an
I'm
agenda
doing this to
behind,
get this. So I'm doing. I just want to do this.
exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people nowadays do things with an agenda. A lot of guys nowadays date with an agenda. They don't date to get to actually know the person. And I mean, me personally, I'm someone that. What's this? Hold on. You guys are blowing up the chat a little bit. So, a man is good because he will care for his own child. Whoa. Well, yeah. I mean, I think that goes without saying. But you know what?
It wasn't the caring for his own child. It was to take full responsibility for this child. Like, the mother doesn't help at all. Just because you're good, you don't have to be extraordinary to be good. It don't have to be something absurd. I don't know why people look for like an extraordinary answer for a good man. A good man is just that. He's a good guy. It's not like, oh, he's a superhero. He's leaping buildings in a single bound. Like, what? No. He has good character. A good man is just a simple, decent, moral person that just does what he's supposed to do. He does the right thing. That's a good man.
M3, what do you got to say on this one, man? What is a good man? What is an example of a good man? Drop some knowledge.
Well, I would definitely say like everything that Danielle said is definitely right. It's definitely about the character when it comes to it. But in the comments, I did also mention that, a good man is a man that really holds true to his value. See, a lot of people could claim to be good, and I know you guys mentioned like an agenda, but if you have an agenda for something, that's not being true to who you are. You're just doing it out of like, your own personal like intent. But like I said before, if you're true to like your own value and you're holding like the person around you down, that what makes you as a good man. Maybe just a good man in general, a good person. I'm sorry, person. I meant.
Give me an example of a value that would be considered a good man's quality.
A man that's like, taking care of like your household, taking care of your kids. Even if you like, I'll give you an example. Remember when we had the topic about like when we was talking about like stepdads? Okay. I consider stepdads to be good men because you're raising somebody that is not even like your own, but you're building that person up. Even when people are trying to tear you down and be like, oh, like you could do better for yourself. Well, maybe you found something that's better. You found kids that is value to you, and you're instilling your wisdom and passing on to the knowledge to those children because they don't have a father for their own to help, be built up in their self-esteem. And maybe your role is to like build that self-esteem up for those children. There's plenty of examples I could also give too, though, but it depends like on personal value.
Because my thing is the reason why I asked this, and especially I want to emphasize an example because a lot of times in these different channels, a lot of people give bullet point answers.
Yeah.
Oh, he's values, morals, this, that, and it's never anything tangible. It's never anything that, hey, can I replicate this and kind of understand the feeling of what a good man would do and get like really put myself in the shoes of that good man's action and understand why I'm doing that. You get what I'm saying?
Oh, but yeah.
Okay.
Well, in your opinion, right? What do you think like a good man would be? If you mind if I ask?
A good man?
Mm-hmm. If you give me one example.
Yeah. Okay. A good man would be someone that if he's going to the store and he knows his wife likes a certain set of flowers. You know what? Scratch that. He will find out if he's talking to a girl. He'll find out the flower that she likes, and probably randomly send it to her at some random point. She will have no idea it's even coming, but when she gets it, she's gonna be like, oh my God, thank you so much. I wasn't expecting. He had no agenda. There's no agenda behind it besides I want this person to know that I was thinking about them and I want them to feel good that they got this.
Okay.
So that would be a good man's action. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Basically, what you're elaborating is someone like who is more on a thoughtful type of side. Like, hey,
Correct.
okay, like she likes she likes speaking French. So let me go out my way to like, give her some like French audiobooks or something.
There you
Or
go.
write a poem to her like in French, even though I don't know how to speak French or read it. But huh? Yeah,
Hit her with
my
the
wife is giving me the thumbs up because I did that before.
Hey, my guy.
Thank you.
But all right, I'm sorry, Anthony. Let's jump on to the rest of the panel. John, I'm finally glad your thing's working, my man.
Finally.
But you're muted.
All right, so I grew up on the whole headphone thing. I'm just gonna move today, gonna make back and forth between my workstation and here. It works a lot, or I might just get some headphones just for work, man. Something, but anyway, that's neither here nor there. All right, so a good man is selfless, like period. A good man is selfless because selfless encompasses a lot of acts. You understand? So if a man is selfless, he's probably not abusive. If a man is selfless, he's probably going to be a good parent. If a man is selfless, he doesn't lack understanding, and a man is selfless will also be willing to acknowledge his own flaws and learn from previous mistakes. So if I was going to encompass use one word to describe a good man and then avoid those bullet point answers, because I mean, I'm not talking about Danielle's example because I know about that example in detail. So I'm just going to leave that one. But if you're a parent, nigga, you ain't a good man because you a good parent. That's your damn job. You laid with that woman. You got her pregnant. That's your damn job. Like, I don't really like it when a nigga say, oh, I'm babysitting. Nigga, you ain't babysitting. Who you watching? The neighbor's kids? Because if they came from you, nigga, you being a parent, you parenting right now. That's what you're doing. You're not babysitting. You parenting. I mean, y'all split that duty. They need to see you around. They need to talk to you. But whatever. So that doesn't make you good. I know plenty of niggas is great with the kids, but terrible with the woman in front of the kids. So is he a good man? Is he even a good parent? I know dudes who take their kids out, but it's an agenda behind it. They take them out so they can get attention from women. And they'll bring them right back if ain't nobody biting. But if they biting, it keep the kids out all damn day. Is that a good man?
Not pay attention to the kids either.
But you're gonna say, "Oh, he's such a good man."
But that's not a good parent.
You don't know nothing about him because he with his damn kids. You just know one thing. Are those your kids? Yep. He can reproduce. You know that. That's what you know. That's all you know at that point. That this nigga can make babies. Period. At least however old that child ago is, then you know that much. Quit reading into shit. They don't make him a good man. Selfless. Okay. He's selfless. He put other people's needs, to include strangers and others, above himself and what he needs. He's selfless. Not selfish, but he's selfless.
He's selfless.
Yeah. Selfless, but not a simp.
100 watts. Oh, that's a good point. I want to touch on that. We're gonna touch on that. But 100 watts, right? Are you?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Listen, appreciate you coming up on the panel, my man. Just saw you on M3, so I'm glad you could make it to mine. But
yeah,
what we
salute.
talking, man?
So the only I just wanted to push back on a small thing, right? That one word, what was the one? What was the word you said? A man doesn't hey, I'm sorry. He doesn't have. This is what I'll say. I think a good
Agenda.
agenda, that's the word, agenda, have an agenda. I think that's just a bad word. I think that is just a word that has a negative connotation, right? Because I think a good man understands that there has to be an intention in all of the decisions that he makes, right? You have to understand the positive and negative from all of the decisions that you make. You have to move with intention. So even the example that you gave with giving flowers, like, I'm not really looking for something. I'm not looking for you to give me something, but I understand what this is going to bring to you. I understand the intention in making this move. I know that when I buy you these flowers and you receive them, it's going to make you feel a certain type of way. You're going to think of me. You're going to smile when you see them. You're going to want to smell the flowers. Every time next time you walk down the street, you see those same flowers in the window of a store. You're going to think of me when you see those flowers again. Like, there has to be intention in the moves that you make, because when you're making moves without intention, then you're just doing whatever. So then that goes into what John was just talking about, right? Like being selfless versus being selfish. So when you're aware of what happens behind every decision that you make, you're moving with intention. So an objective, I think, is a bad word, but I think that men do need to be aware of the repercussions, positive or negative, from every decision that they make. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you are taking care of kids, right? Because like I said, I have 3 children that I'm trying to get custody of right now. That's not some. I agree with him. Like that's my responsibility. You feel me? Like I'm their father. I'm supposed to be in their life. I'm supposed to be around them and teaching them. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like I'm saying that because I'm trying to get a gold medal. Is the only reason I brought that up is just because you're talking about it's far and few between where you hear of men trying to take on that responsibility 24/7. You know what I'm saying? But the intention, you have to be aware of the intention behind the decisions that you're making is what I
So
feel
to
like.
ask the both of you guys a little bit, shout out to you, Simon. Listen, shout out to the whole panel.
What's up, Slime Man?
This is a great
Slime
session.
Man.
So this is good. Listen, shout out to all of you guys, man. Shout out to the chat. I love this. I'm loving this. But to push back against you guys a little bit, do you think that a man taking care of his kids, taking care of his responsibilities, or anything like that, is there no need for a pat on the back and no need for a good job? Like, is there,
No. You don't need a pat on the back. Especially when you're talking about a man who's taking care of children when he's not with their mother. You definitely don't get a pat on the back for that, because we're talking about a tearing of the nuclear family, right? You already split the family apart. So the fact that you're willing to step up and do what you're responsible for, like, you're doing your job. That's like my mother clapping her hands every time I make up my bed before I go to school. Like, what?
Wait, your mom didn't do that?
No. No, but like when you take care of your responsibilities, you're taking care of your responsibilities. You don't need a gold medal for that. Now, if you go
You're
above and
responsible
beyond,
is the character of a good person. If you don't take care of your kids, you're a bad person. So if you do take care of your kids, you're a good person. You don't have to do something extraordinary or exceptional to be good. Me taking care of my children properly makes me a good mom, makes me a good woman, makes me virtuous, makes me admirable. And the same for a man. Just because it's your responsibility doesn't mean doing it doesn't make you good.
Simon.
Right, especially.
Yeah, listen. I want Simon to chime in on this. Then I'll come back to you, M3, and then I want to do a quick reaction because it's gonna add into this a little bit. It might push back to a little bit of what you guys are saying. But Simon, what are we talking about, man? You're muted, bro.
You're muted.
So that disputed my foul language. Now, peace to the panel. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate all of you guys. Everyone on the panel speaks truth. If anything, what's a good man? What's an example? It's here and there. We all set our own standards, don't we? I can only sort of go on like my own life and what I've lived through. From a of what other people say. But for me, I don't know where that noise is coming from.
Yeah, is that whose background is that? Is that you, Simon?
I don't have to listen to that song. But no, yeah, it's gone now. But no, I guess like, look, we're all grown people here, right? So we've all lived a certain type of lifestyle. We've all. I don't know what our experiences are. What my experiences that I had a marriage and I had previous relationships, and my marriage made me a good man. My previous relationships did not make me a good man. My marriage made me understand what a good man was supposed to be, and that was to be a provider. And when we had children and things like that, and went through that whole process, that made me grow up a little bit. And no matter what anyone sort of whispered in my ear and whatever, and all these conversations that were going on, it didn't really matter. I was really zoned in the relationship and trying to build a foundation for what was going on. So a good man was a good man to a good woman, because that good woman enabled me to be a good man. And that was the basis of that foundation. It wasn't really sort of me trying to sort of think about what a good man is. It was the woman that came into my life that enabled me to understand what a good man is so that we could build a family. Yeah,
okay. There's a couple things I want to say to that, but let's do the quick reaction, okay? So everyone, do me a favor, mute your mics. Fair use.
But it's like, do you reward a man for in the world? Because y'all always say the world full of fuckboys. Megan Thee Stallion music and Cardi B. I never hear no rap song by a girl. I'm saying, yeah, black men are kings. Yeah, black men are the shit. Love my black. Never. I hear broke boys don't get nothing and get his money. So I don't really think that being a good man gets a reward. It's like, oh, you're supposed to be a real man. You're supposed to be a solid dude. You're supposed to dress nice. It's like, damn, you're right. A man is a provider by nature. There's no excuse for not being a provider as a man. But it's okay as a woman to reward him.
All right, so let's not.
John, what do you think?
Just off of that?
Yeah.
So from what I took from it is he's saying that women should reward men for being solid with them or whatever.
Because there's guys that essentially he was saying there's guys out there that aren't really they're making kids and then they're leaving. They're not even being there. They're not even sticking around. But then the guy that's actually being solid, he's holding it down. He's doing what he's supposed to do for his kids, for his family.
Right.
Like he just gets okay, well, that's what you're supposed to do. He gets the same treatment as the guy that's not there.
Okay.
So at what point in time can we actually say like, okay, he's being a good man. He deserves some level of pat on the back. He deserves some sort of praise.
All right, so I have to word this carefully because I meant what I said about the whole parent thing. Like I meant that that's your job to do that. But it's not my job to be even in a relationship. Like I don't have to. That's a choice of mine. But if I'm in that relationship and I am treating you with respect and I am doing and I've learned to be selfless, then it would be nice for you to acknowledge that. You know what I'm saying? Like for you to acknowledge that I chose not to be selfish, because I can be a provider and be selfish as fuck. I don't have to be selfless. You understand what I'm saying? Like I had 2 bad relationships where I got cheated on in them, but I learned so much from them. So it sucked going through it when I went through it, but I learned from it. I learned that I was not as a good a person as I thought I was, that I was still selfish. And I probably did need to be by myself for a while, because I did, like I was chasing the bag so hard I really didn't give a fuck. Like I didn't care if she. I really didn't care. Like even if she, a lot of stuff when I noticed she'd bring me lunch or dinner. She went out her way to do that, and I'd be like, "Look, man, ain't got time for this. Just keep it at the house. Put it in the microwave or something, man. What you want? I'm busy. You don't say I'm busy. I snap. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm in the middle of a closing loop, and anybody who's in sales, they know what a closing loop is. If you don't, then you just not in sales or whatever. But I'm in the middle of a closing loop, and you break that loop, your customer go from hot to cold, and if they drop cold at any point, then you're gonna get. I'll think about it. So that was my livelihood. That's how we make our money. That's how I paid for everything. That's how I was a provider. Period. But I had to learn from that. I had to learn that I'm gonna have to have work-life balance. I learned from that. I learned the importance of family because I was a solo dolo type dude. I was there and I deal with the kids and everything like that. But I really, I had to learn how to really be a family man. Like I had to learn how to, like when I was at home, I spent some time with the kids, but more time with her because the previous relationship, she cheated. So I wanted to make sure she feel like kids ain't gonna cheat on you. They just there. But this one taught me, no, we include all of us while you here. Like we all love you. Okay, don't just be with the kids an hour and try to spend 6 hours with me. Let's spend 6 hours together or 3 hours with the kids and 3 hours with me. So I'm like, oh, all right. So but
So, I mean, listen.
Yeah,
realistically, what you just said right there, that it took you 2 relationships. You were working hard, and you were working hard in both of them.
Yeah, I was.
And you still weren't able to find that balance. So when a man is able to find that balance and still able to keep that balance, did he still not get a pat on the back at attaboy, a good job?
I think that your pat on the back or good job will come from the person you with, though. Not why do you need it from everybody?
And you don't need it from the world. That's what I was talking about.
You don't.
I was talking about the one I'm with. I wasn't talking about everybody else. I'm talking about the one I'm with. Like society, I don't care what everybody think. I don't care about that one person. What she think. I don't care about what everybody else think. I only care about that one person. What she think.
I didn't even. I couldn't even hear you. My babies came in here.
Yeah, like I just want to talk about them.
But I mean, that's what I was talking about on the video. He was like, he hear all these songs about how men are bad or this or that, and ain't no song big up in the black men. Perhaps he should listen to R&B instead of rap, and then he will get the pat on his back that he's looking for. Because there are R&B music that definitely does big up black men.
Give me 1 second, Danielle. M3, you want to say any final thoughts? Because I know you have to go. You were
muted, bro.
Oh, I just gave you my good speech and all. But, all right, let me reiterate again. All right, from what I got from it, right, with these struggle headphones, and I'm trying not to use like a pun in this one, but it seems like some men want to be rewarded for good behavior, which is understandable. You feel like you put some effort into it and you're showing that person respect, so you're hoping to get that same respect. However, sometimes you may need to find a person that will give you that respect instead of searching for the wrong person. Sometimes we look for, the ones that's not really good for us to give us all the things that we put our hearts into, but those people are just for the streets, or they're just for the wrong type of dudes. And if you don't align with them, then you gotta just have the courage to leave and find someone else that will appreciate you for you.
Okay. 100 watts.
I heard it just a second ago. I think my sister's keeper said it just a second. Or John, both of them honestly said it. But I literally have my daughter sitting right here next to me right now. You know what I'm saying? So for me to take care of my child, I'm not really looking for anything for that. But what I will acknowledge is that there's a human factor that's in there, right? You do want to know that somebody notices it, right? So like the other day, because her mother lives in Texas. I'm in Virginia. Her mother's in Texas right now. So her mother calls so they can video chat with each other. And just a little small thing. It was one little small thing that her mother said. Oh my, your father did a good job brushing your hair today. You know what I'm saying? Like just that small acknowledgement. You feel me? Just to know that she notices that I'm actually doing what I can. To keep her healthy and make sure that she looks good when we leave out there. That small acknowledgement is all I need. I don't need nobody. I don't need John to throw me no parade. I don't need
Well,
Simon
and
hitting
that's
me like
I
that.
guess that's the idea that I was going at. It's like if the good man is doing what he's supposed to do, like, can he get his kudos? Like, or is it too much to ask for him to get kudos?
And that's when it comes to that question, the only thing I want to know is what kind of acknowledgement are you looking for? Are you looking for someone to, oh, you did such a great job, good job. Here's $200 worth of gifts. What kind of acknowledgement are you
300 would
looking
be
for?
nice, but 200 is all right, I guess.
You're looking too much for validation.
Yeah,
It's
just a matter of what you're looking for.
I get the no. Why does it have to be validation? What the hell? No, why the hell is it that, like, if a guy is actually doing what he's supposed to do, I'm not saying he needs to ask for it, but is it so much to ask that the other side reciprocates with appreciation for what he's doing?
What I want to know is, why do you think that men that are being good men, good parents, good spouses aren't getting their kudos just because you don't hear it in public?
Mm-hmm.
Can I just chime in for a second? The thing is I get where you're coming from. Like everybody, there comes to a point where it's just like, it's like sort of going to war, like where you become a soldier and you go overseas and you're fighting a battle and you don't really understand what that battle is, and you're dealing with people who you've never actually come across, you've never seen their like for like. I think men go through a certain thing. Well, I don't know if it's just a personal thing, but I don't really look at women as the enemy. We go through this process where we initially have a real tit for tat like thing going on. Like you might have a little date, have a coffee, go for a cake, go to the restaurant, and you try to, we try to sort of figure each other out, and then we get to the point and go through these stages. Why is it that when we get to having children and then, okay, we're going to move in, we're going to have a household, maybe that doesn't work out. We go through, it might work out, and then we're married all of a sudden. We're committed to each other. Then we start bringing out negative stuff. Maybe 3-4 years down the line, we don't agree with each other. We don't sort of have the same responses that we had initially, maybe 3-4 years before. I think that, I don't know, I just see this stuff going on round and round, the conversations that relationships are negative. And I don't think they are. I think they're very positive things. Although like I was in a marriage, I don't sort of think, I'm never ever going to be in a marriage ever again. Life's to live. There's things to do. There's a whole wide world out there. We have our children. I love my child. I'm blessed. Every second I spend with my child, I cherish that like nothing. That's all I live for. Like this YouTube stuff and all this stuff that goes on, I fell into it like a rabbit hole. There was no sort of perspective where I was thinking, I'm just going to sort of monetize and all this sort of. I get that. Yeah, okay, maybe that's at the back of my mind. But no, like I'm coming on these platforms to have real conversations with real people, and I will go out of my way to do that. I don't need to be here right now. Like I've got to be up at work in about 6 hours, so I cherish moments. And the fact of the matter is do we cherish moments with the people that we have dearest to us. You know, that's what I think matters. And with our children, I think sometimes we could just put that to the side and sort of go, okay, this happened, that happened. But I don't know. You know, everyone's got their own perspective. I'm interested in everyone's perspective.
Definitely. M3 on 100 watts. I know you guys had to get going, so give me a quick minute. I'm gonna M3. Give yourself a shout out.
Thank you. So this is M3 from Knowledge and Relationships. Definitely check my YouTube channel out. Like, comment, subscribe. But before doing that, make sure you hit the like button for CKQ's platform and subscribe to his channel. He has a lot of awesome golden nuggets. Thank you, CKQ.
Don't forget to tell people to get their mind right.
Oh, see,
I got you.
Thank you. See, I'm glad Danielle's here to help me to get my mind right. Sometimes I don't. But good thing we have people to hold me accountable as well. Thanks.
What's happening? What it is? I go by the name of 100 Watts, and I love those that love me. I want to say real quick, I'm a brand new subscriber here, and so far I'm already enjoying this platform. I definitely do plan on tuning in more and going backwards to get a little bit more context in terms of the content that you guys put here on this platform. You can subscribe to me on Finesse Visions. Our new objective right now, I want to focus primarily right now on building finances, building funding, building financial freedom. That's my main focus right now. Just yesterday, we had a stream about how to start a business. Next week, we're going to have a stream on Monday, Money Mondays. We're going to have a stream about branding a business. Okay. So again, shout out to you guys and what it is that you're doing over here on this panel. I wanted to make sure I came over here and showed love and peace and blessings to each and every one of you guys that's here on the panel and in the chat right now.
Appreciate you, bro. Thanks for coming up, guys. And you guys, if you're sticking around the chat, if you come back up at any point in time, we'd love to have you guys back up, all right?
Yeah, I'll definitely make sure I come back. I'll probably be on my computer by then instead of the cell phone.
There we go. Might be even better. All right. So I wanted to throw in a little bit more of that video. So do me a favor. Hit the mute button. Fair use. Fair use.
And I also feel like, no offense, I feel like a man shouldn't be asking me for money. Like, don't you guys have like pride? Like, why are you asking a woman for money? Why are you asking her for her money?
Okay.
Like, I don't know. I will feel a little bit offended. I would be like,
see,
did they give it to me or they gave it to you?
That's the culture
don't know.
That's the culture we live in, though. See, the culture we live in is like this. And look, and now when I say it in words, you're gonna say, "Damn, yo, it is like that." As a dude, you are to work your entire life. Your woman should not have to work. If she does have to work, it's considered she has to really work while dating you. Take care of your family. Pay the bills, maintain your appearance, and never ask for nothing. Never expect no extra shit. Never ask for no money. Never ask for nothing. Now, look, in this world, we reward dogs for doing dumb shit, for sitting down. We reward, at your job. Do a good job, you get a raise. Like in the culture we live in, when you do good, you get a reward. Except for being a good man, because being a good man is normal. Y'all be single, so it's not normal. Having a good man, having a good man that takes care of your family and your son or your daughter is exceptional. You are a lottery winner. You, my lady, are lucky. So when that money comes in, you're right. Shouldn't no man have to be like, yo, because maybe why? Because men supposed to always be on their feet and doing well. So God forbid your man is not doing well and he needs your help. He's a weak man.
Chris, we'll start with you. You've been silent a little too long, all right?
Yeah, I agree with him. I don't understand. I don't understand why this is even like a conversation that people are having. Like if you're with somebody and you chose to be with them and they're doing things that make you feel good in that relationship, that that you're proud of, that you appreciate, you should definitely show them that appreciation. And also, I do think that we have a culture where we have made it seem like when men do good things, they're doing it because they're supposed to. Like that should have been automatic. It should have been nature. And I don't know. I do think that we kind of downplay the good bits. You know, we kind of downplay it when it's a man. So not all the time, but yeah, I agree. I agree with what he was saying for the most part.
Danielle?
I don't agree. I think that he around the wrong women. Though I don't feel like it has to come from the public. I am a female who, on my platforms, I actually do congratulate men and speak positive of men all the time for doing regular things. I think it's wonderful when men are financially responsible. If I see somebody on my page who's done something, I will give them a shout out. If I see a man who went through a struggle to get his kid and got his kid, I will give him a shout out. If I see a man that's just being a good dad, period. Anything that I see, I absolutely point out. My husband being a good dad, I do congratulate him, not only in private, but in public. And I'm not, and on my timeline, I'm not the only person that I see do that. I monitor my Instagram and my Facebook. I will accept a plethora of people. But if you put up something that I don't like, you're deleted because I have to protect my peace. And that also goes for online. And if you're not promoting something or saying something that pours into me or agrees with how I see things, I'm not going to keep you there. I don't need to turn on my page and see people fighting. I don't like people who share them World Star videos because I don't need to see us in that light. If I see somebody rolling up weed, I'm going to delete you. That's not something I need to see on my feed. But I see people congratulating men all the time, even in public. So I would say that he's just not surrounding himself with the type of people he is looking for. He needs to monitor his peace better.
Monitor his peace. Well said. Well said. Simon?
Yeah, I think that point was good in terms of like, you know, it's really all about the people you surround yourself with. It is really about you understanding yourself, and then you can sort of form an understanding around who you need to be around. Because if people don't align with you, then obviously there's going to be a disconnect. There's going to be a problem. And if that can turn into a thing that actually transpires over time. That can happen over years. You can invite people into your world, into your life, into your home, into your household, you know, into your circles, where then you're sort of having this discovery sort of investigation, stress fest. That sort of just creates problems, you know, ongoing problems for you, your family, everyone around you, you know, your children, which you know, that's the biggest thing. So yeah, I sort of I can align with that one.
John, what do you think?
I told you what I thought about it. I think
you stand firm on that, huh?
I mean, why wouldn't you? Like, I'm referring just to, you know, I'm referring to the person that I'm with. You understand? Like, what everybody else think, it doesn't really matter. Like, I don't move to receive reward from strangers. I don't do stuff like that. I just don't. So, but if you with that person, then and he's doing what he's supposed to do, he has a choice, because he don't have to do what he's supposed to do. He can still provide. He can pay all the bills and do everything, and you get cheated on constantly. Now what?
What do you mean by that?
Most rich women? Come on, bro. The men have mistresses. You think they faithful? But the woman don't say nothing. But inside, she hurt. She knows she's sharing that man. He just being respectful about it. Or is that an oxymoron? I mean, I'm not stupid. I wasn't born last night. I don't want to hear nothing about, well, my cousin's brother is rich and he don't do that. I'm like, man, I don't care. That's not the damn norm, bro. Normal is when this man is rich, and I do mean rich. I ain't talking about no 2 or 3. I'm talking about rich. I'm talking about he can go
But
drop
what percentage of people? What percentage of men is that?
a lot higher than you think. If a
That's-
broke man can cheat, what you think a rich man who can go and take a woman and give her them fairy tales?
But I mean, I think if you're talking like filthy, stupid rich, right? You're
No, I'm talking about just a millionaire. He ain't got to be a billionaire. Just
Okay.
a millionaire. Got a couple mil in the bank. Not even nothing fancy. He gonna outdo you. You making 100, 200,000. You ain't gonna compete with what he can do. He can go drop 200,000 and spoil this woman, and he could literally have as many women on a certain level as he wanted to have away from the house.
I don't know. I think some women will buy that and buy into that idea and live by that sort of. They may live like that, and some women won't.
Some women won't. I agree with you. We know that nothing is 100%, but unfortunately, groupies do exist, and they exist in the masses. And other than this man being on TV, why do you think that these women are flocking to him, especially ones that are completely butt ugly? This man, if he was a normal dude, never on TV, would walk in a club and wouldn't nobody even talk to him. But because they seen him on a screen or he's on a stage, they flock. Or they trying to figure out ways to get pregnant by him. Why do you think newly signed football players have a whole meeting that they go through as to the women? It's a whole meeting about nothing but women and not to get pregnant, not to be, make sure you engaging in safe sex because you opening up your bank account. Why is that? Because if the thought was not there, then these meetings would be
Right.
a moot
So
point.
yeah. So I get where you say. I get where you're coming from, but you got to put yourself in that position. So if you're that football player, if you're that person, you can't just have anyone just sort of walking up to you and speaking to you, and talking to you.
Nah.
Because that's, it's not like the average guy that's on like doing like a blue collar job and earning
Right.
40 odd K,
Right.
where
Or more.
or where you're in society, right?
Right.
You're jumping on the bus, you're jumping on the train, you're doing your day-to-day thing, you're coming back, you're sort of leaving your house, basically, opening and closing the door, and then you're dealing with society, and then coming back, and then you're interacting with someone that's probably on your level to some extent, who's maybe earning the same amount as you or less, right? But when you get into that society where it's a completely different sphere, where you're dealing with, people who would literally walk up to you and you don't even have to say anything. It's not like a game. It's not a play. You don't have to think about, how am I going to finesse this person?
Yeah, they're throwing themselves at you. You don't have to blink, and they're throwing themselves at you. Yeah.
Literally, that's their whole game. Like it's crazy. Like you walk into these award parties and all this sort of stuff, and a complete random stranger that might have been your dream person would walk up to you and like you're like, oh, what am I supposed to do? And it takes a certain level of maturity and a certain amount of experience to understand what that is. But for some young people, when they're encountering that, they don't know what that is. And for to be fair, most young people, young black males, even young white males, would take the opportunity just to understand what that experience is. And
I just think it's a bad narrative to push that the second a man starts making money or a man starts achieving as much as he can, he's instantly going to start stepping out. He's instantly going to start getting as much women as he can. I think it's a bad. I think it's a bad narrative.
If they were in the same predicament, if you had a female that came from sort of like a situation where she was not getting as much attention in college or university, and sort of suddenly,
but you don't think so even if she's getting that attention, you don't think that she would still want to be with one person? You don't think you think that everyone, just the second they get all of that attention, they're gonna say screw it to that one person and they're just gonna start going with as many options as they can?
No, I don't think it works like that. I just think you probably may have experienced this as a young person as well, but as a young person, you don't know. So what happens is like you go through the kiss and the frog process, whereas you're trying to get to, with females in particular, trying to get to your prince, and with males is what's that Disney sort of trying to play the king that's rolling up on a horse that can save you from
Prince Charming.
Prince Charming, yeah.
Yeah, so you start playing these roles when you're younger. Obviously, 10 years down the line, when you're facing sort of gunshots, so it's you experience a different sort of thing. But to understand that not a lot of people actually get through that. You get 30, 40-year-olds who are still acting like that, acting like they're still in that situation, and unless you become, unless you're fortunate enough to actually sort of be in a position where you can get your head around it, or be in a professional role, or go through and work with professional people, or have mentors, or this, that, the other, it's just an anomaly. So what happens is you always get that percentage of people that understand certain things. You get a percentage of people that are in the middle, and you get the percentage of people that just don't and won't.
Danielle, Chris, what do you guys think about this?
So they real long-winded. I don't even know what they was talking about, really. I got so lost in what was being said.
The idea behind the second someone gets, we're gonna go with that. The idea behind this, when someone gets, a man starts making money, he's going to start exercising as many options as he can.
I would think that's what's common, and it is what's expected. I mean, they said that a man is tested when he has everything, and a woman is tested when he has nothing.
I've never heard that. That's pretty cool.
I mean, and that's a common saying. I mean, and I think that it's this. That's just what it is when you have a lot of options.
So your character is tested once you have a lot of options. Okay. I don't.
It's not really your character.
Oh man, thank you. Because I'm like, man, is that character?
It's not really.
Is that character? What?
If you're single.
If I'm single,
if you're single, yes. Okay, so if you're single, yes. But if you're married to someone, if you made a vow with someone, I'm going to try to build my life with you. That's not character.
Oh, that is
a relationship thing.
Yeah, I mean that's all I'm looking at. That's all I'm thinking about. I mean, I'm not thinking as a single person. The hell, there is no character behind that. That's you being a single person.
Okay.
But as a married person, you're single or you're married. That's just it.
I got you.
Yeah. So that's why I'm really saying, is it just? It's just
it still applies. It's still tested.
Yeah, it's still going to be tested. That one is a man's character.
Doctor married.
You said what, Simon?
It's the doctor married.
It's the doctor married. No,
almost.
I keep doing that wrong. The doctor over there.
Yeah.
Is he married?
No.
No, he's not.
Have you been married?
Not yet.
Ever?
Say what?
Ever?
Yeah.
Never. Ever.
No, I have been. Yes.
You have been. How long for?
Yeah. How long?
Yeah. Just out of interest, because
probably like 10 years.
Yeah, so you know what it's like to be married. I mean, the thing is, people undervalue marriage, and you know, they. I think there's like a common denominator like these days where it's like, you know, we shouldn't get married. But I think whether it's a makeup or breakup, marriage, you can learn from marriage differently to when you like enter in a relationship. When you just have, when you just go into dating and all this sort of stuff, and you live with someone for 6 years and all this sort of stuff, it's just like that's completely different to marriage. It's a completely different thing, and you learn so much. And I would just encourage people to actually just understand what that is, meaning get married, like, because it's not the be and end all. Like, it might not work out, yes. And there's this whole narrative that, oh, you might have a failed marriage. You don't have there's no such thing as a failed marriage in this day and age, because prior to us as human beings, as Black people in this day and age, you can't sort of turn around and say a marriage is a failed thing as an experience, because people are going into 2, 3, 4 month relationships and just wasting their whole entire life. Whereas with a marriage, at least you're learning something.
I'd like to get Chris. You haven't spoken. What's your thoughts?
What was the question that you posed to Danielle? You want me to answer that question, or thoughts on what just happened? Okay.
Yeah,
was it two men?
What was posted? Yeah, correct.
I think men that become famous, yes, I think that applies to. Like men that kind of live in the limelight and they get that attention. People know that they're rich or they have a certain status that people know about. But I don't think it applies all the time. I think there are a lot of silent millionaires that are married and they mind their own business. Not saying that they aren't cheating, but with the idea that women are like throwing themselves at them because of their money. There are men that are rich and no one would know that they were rich. They don't look a certain way. And so women probably wouldn't throw themselves at them because they wouldn't know who they are. So, yeah, I think it depends. I think my answer is a bit different. Like I worked with those types of men, so I know they exist. I don't know what they're doing behind the scenes, but they are all married, really well off, but you wouldn't know any of their names because they mind their own business. So I don't think it applies to all men.
Okay. That was a good one. We're going to move on to the next question to the panel. What is a woman's value in a marriage? What is a woman's value in a marriage? John?
Her role. I value her role. Period.
Period, point blank. Okay.
Yeah. And they know what they are. They know what the role is. It's stereotypical, and I value that.
The women know what the role is?
The ones that I've messed with and would mess with and would put a ring on their finger, they know. And if not, that's fine. Hey, there's no ring for you from me.
Okay.
I'm trying to fight that uphill battle.
There's a video that I want to play after this, but I want to get everyone's answer. Chris, what do you think? What is a woman's value in a marriage?
I think her value comes from the peace she brings, making things run smoother, being able to fill in. I always say, like, a man is like solid foundation, and then a woman is like like water basically, or something that's liquidy that you pour over, and basically it fills in all the cracks and all the gaps that he has. So basically it's being able to do the things that he can't, or the things that he can do, just do it better and do it well when it comes to like the house and helping things function when he's out, doing whatever he has to do to build either his family or his career or whatever his purpose is. Yeah.
Okay. Danielle?
My role or my value in my marriage is to make everybody's life in my home easier. My husband works a lot. We don't have to worry about having clean clothes. I make sure his clothes are clean. My kids need to go to school and do homework. They don't have to worry about if they have the supplies to do their homework. They don't have to worry about if they have food in their belly. I make sure that the environment is harmonious with what we have to accomplish. Everybody should be peaceful, happy, and have the things they need to do the things that they need and don't have no worry.
Okay. So, Simon, what do you think?
I don't know. I've got a bit of a different perspective. Obviously, I'm not deducting from the points that's been made on the panel, but I'm in the UK. So what I see is a lot of white couples, not black couples as such. And white women seem to be much more submissive to their husband. And I think the word submissive has been taken out of perspective in these spaces. What tends to happen is they form a union. So when people choose to be married, they understand that. And again, the man of the house, like these terms, the man of the household and this, that, the other, I think that can rile up a woman, like a black woman, especially because, like, I've dated black women in the UK, and it can rile up. But when you start using certain terms, it's not that. What it is like we're forming a union and we're going on a path. And are you with me? And usually, in most cases, the black man is the lead in that, in terms of they have the idea and they have the vision, and you'd sit down with your black counterpart, which is the woman, and discuss this, and they would agree, and that would be the marriage. That would be like, okay,
Agree to what? Agree to what? Because
let's say I don't know what, like, say I was I was this person that this person just met. I had a business that was, it could be any business, let's say business X, and this person wanted to join this union, right? So you're coming into my household, which would now become our household. We don't have children, bar children. We're forming children later on. This is our thought process because we're trying to build a union. What's your stance? What's your part in this? What's your part in our household? How are we going to keep this complete, potentially for the next 30 years? Right? What's your skills? How can you contribute to that? And usually, as I said, just from what I viewed over here, what I see a lot of counterparts doing is assisting. Like, and I'm not deducting from, oh, you don't need this or you don't need that. Is they will bring their skills. It may be sort of accounting, it may be administration, it may be. Usually, it's the type of role that a woman is comfortable in, but can assist the man in, which It happens in everyday life. But in this particular instance, because you're forming a union, it would be within your own household that will enable you to build and become better people and build legacy for your future spawn.
Okay. Neek, welcome to the panel. Neek, we don't hear you. maybe your stuff is not connected yet. But question I'm gonna pose to the panel while is Neek playing the piano? What's going on? Say something again, Neek. Okay, your audio is still not connecting for some reason. So, question I want to pose to the panel: does a husband have to? Should a man have to do anything to teach the woman to be a wife? Should a husband ever have to train his woman to be a wife?
I say no. You have to learn each other, and when you learn each other, that's when he asks you to be his wife.
Yep.
Who answered that?
A ghost.
Ah, gotcha. Yeah. So, Chris.
Short answer, yes, kind of. Especially if there's like cultural differences. Like you have to, if you're going to marry somebody who's not of your culture, you have to teach them, about your culture and how to pass that on to your children. Yeah, I think so. I feel like the word train is what's going to throw a lot of people off. But in a way, yeah, and I feel like you, as a wife, you kind of train your husband to treat you a certain way, with positive reinforcement. It's not necessarily direct. I think it's more direct with men, but yes, short answer, yes, you have to. So they know what you like, what you want, because it's going to take both of us and both of our efforts to make this marriage work. So if there are certain things that you like in particular, specific, you definitely have to tell that to your spouse and be clear about it. And when they do it, you're going to thank them and appreciate them, so they keep doing that thing. So over time, yes, you are going to train them.
Yeah, to train them. Okay. Neek. Try it now. Try talking now. You muted yourself, by the way.
I thought I unmuted myself.
There we go. That's it.
Okay. Can you hear me now? Okay.
Yes.
Great. I didn't
First
forget.
of all, thanks for coming up on the panel.
Hey, how y'all doing?
So what are we talking? Does a man have to train his woman to be a wife?
Does a man have to train a woman to be his wife?
Mm-hmm.
No, I think that a man should just really just do and lead by example. Because a lot of times, if I feel like somebody is trying to do those type of things to me, that's just from my point of view, is that I'm going to go the opposite way if I feel like somebody is just trying to, make me do what they want me to do. So training it's not a good word for me. I'm sorry. So my main thing is the man should just be, have a plan, be in his purpose of what he needs to do so he can take care of his family. Now, everybody doesn't know that, and everybody doesn't think that's supposed to happen. So sometimes it's hard to see what your purpose is. So, I think that's the main thing, not training her. Be who you are, and then she'll be like, oh, damn, okay, I have to be like that. I think it's all about changing yourself a lot. So not just, trying to force somebody else to do anything. I'm sorry. I went a little
No. Listen,
off of it.
I want the deep dive. I want the real talk. But what do you what was the original thing you came up to the panel for, by the way?
He was saying something about how white women seem like they obey or submit or something like that. And I was like, huh? So that was my original reason why I jumped on.
Okay, so what did you want to say?
I wanted to say that I think that that's not true. That is totally untrue, because I know some Black women that just don't know what submission looks like. They may think submission is giving up something. But if you know what I'm saying, if you're not good at something and somebody else is, you should just let them handle that. That's why you became, that's why you got together, but nah, I don't that's not true. Because I know some white women that would not listen to their husbands and run their husbands. So I don't, that black and white thing is not true. That's what I came up here to say. That what is he talking about? that didn't make sense to me. But he's not here to explain anymore. Oh, there you go. Hey.
What was your question?
I didn't understand why you were saying that white women it just seems like they submit more to their partners. Like, I don't understand why it has to be like a color on that. It may seem that way, but it's not like that.
Can I just ask, where are you based? Like, what's your location? Or
I am in Baltimore, Maryland.
Right. So, is it predominantly sort of white or black?
Where I'm at now is black, but
so
I did live in an all-white neighborhood before.
Is it predominantly black or white?
What does where I live at and people?
Because I'm in England, so what I'm trying to say to you is my perspective was from like I'm saying to you, like my viewpoint wasn't a personal perspective. It was from a perspective of my environment. So I'm sort of trying to relate it back to your environment and asking you what your experience is in terms of your environment.
I've lived in a couple of environments.
No, I'm just
so it hasn't been one.
Present. Not like lived in, like just like in terms of now.
Okay, right now I'm predominantly surrounded. I would say Black people, but not that much. I would say it's like 70, 30, or 60, 40. It's not that,
I understand. So what I'm saying is I wouldn't say like I'm not taking my past or like anything else. I was just saying, like, basically to the point that I was making was the people that I'm associated with, or I know, or I come across, or XYZ. Now, those people, right? That's what's going on. So it's not to detract from anything you're saying in any other case. That makes sense. I don't know.
I did not understand that. So what I'm trying to say is
hold on. Give me a second. From what it sounds like, Simon has a very big demographic of, I'm gonna say, predominantly white people around him.
In England, of course.
Yeah. So, I mean, he is going to say what he's going to say about Black women not being submissive, or because he sees predominantly white women doing that. That's his viewpoint.
Yeah,
but that's not everyone's. But that's not everyone's viewpoint.
Thank you.
That's just it. But go ahead, John.
Just a perspective.
All right, so I've heard American black men say the exact same thing, right?
About black women
and white women, yeah.
Okay.
Now I'm finna piss off everybody. White women do a better job of picking men. Ooh, they don't pick that damn garbage. They walk past it. You fixing to have a resume put together. She ain't bringing the dog home.
So it ain't white people in the ghetto?
Hell yeah, they got them in the trailer park. Even the girl even in the trailer park.
Hold on, Simon. Hold on, Simon.
Even the
Hold on,
ones
Simon.
Hey, listen.
People choose fucked up niggas too.
Here, bro. Listen, you can have that opinion all you want.
Putting it on a color. That's
at
stupid.
the bottom line, white women
pick.
They pick different.
You can't.
They don't be lined up talking about
emotion of how people
wait till
act
he
on a
get
color.
off and all this
All
other
colors
stuff.
act the same way.
Wait,
We all
hold
got
on.
the same
Hold on, John. Hold on,
You
John.
ain't
Hold on,
dated
John.
not one white
John,
woman.
hold on. John, hold on.
Not one.
John, hold on.
What?
Neek, what are you trying to say to him?
I'm trying to say to him that.
But after this, you're gonna have to let him go. Okay? I don't want this constant bickering back and forth because no one can really hear. I can't really hear, and definitely the audience can't hear.
Okay.
So I don't want that happening. So I want you guys going one at a time. All right? Neek, you go. After, don't interrupt John. All right? Go. Neek?
Just go ahead and let him go. I'm done. Go let him go.
You're not gonna interrupt him when he starts.
That's why I muted my mic and said let him go.
Nah, ladies first.
No, John, you start it out. Start it out. Don't instigate.
All right, so Neek, that's sis right there, and we get into some good ones one-on-one on the camera, and I know how to trigger, so she gonna get triggered, and I'm gonna make sure I give her a good one so she come on in. White women do a better job of picking men as a whole. I don't care about no 4 or 5 who don't even realize that they white. I don't care about the ones that talking about I don't date no white boys. I ain't talking about them. I'm talking about the ones who, cause the white men don't even want them. Like Pookie Duke is the only one that wants her. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the women who actually you can bring around and be proud of. Is not fixing to just pick no anything. They do not say you ain't fixing to be no up in here coming straight out of prison, got a whole thing talking about some he'll get his life together one day. This dude laying on the couch, he gonna get it one day. No, you gonna have to have something now. You ain't even gonna attract her. It's not happening. Especially ones that come from 2-parent households. How many white women come from 1-parent household? Huh? How many white boys you know come from 1-parent household? Huh? So when you don't come from a 1-parent household, you don't look to try to make a 1-parent household. Where everybody you disagreeing because of emotion. I'm talking about what I see. I'm not talking about that trailer park trash. I'm talking about middle class, just below middle class, that actually live in the neighborhood, got a white daddy to go to work, got a white mama to go to work, then they have kids and they have a white husband who goes to work. They don't just pick anything. They still vet their damn boyfriends through their daddy. We don't. We run out the door. That's become acceptable. Run out the door, get in the car with some dude, talking about some and then going down the street. Nobody's vetting, no brothers involved, nothing. And then you end up with a dude that's garbage. No future, no hopes, no nothing, but you keep excusing it. One day he gonna get up and rise. Sounding like a damn slave, for real. That's all I gotta say about it. They just pick better. It ain't that they submissive. They just pick better men that they can be comfortable. If a woman feel like she is in her femininity, she will automatically submit. She's just gonna do it. But if she feel insecure, if she don't feel safe, she's never gonna submit. If she don't trust you, she's never gonna submit. So white women marry men that they trust. They marry men that got jobs. They marry men with futures. So guess what? They submit. I'm done.
Neek?
Oh, it's my turn. I've
Yes,
been
it
holding
is.
my breath this whole freaking time.
Wow.
Holding my breath. That's the
You
most
could be a professional diver if you're holding your breath.
idiotic rant I have ever freaking heard in my whole life. Like, look who we have to choose from. Look who we have to choose from. Look how are we choosing from. People like you, maybe you've gotten yourself a little bit together, but I know you wasn't all together when you was young.
Hold on.
It's a lot of us, it's a
Neek,
lot of men that's not all together. So look who we
Neek.
have to choose from. You telling me that they pick
Neek,
better men,
Neek,
but
do you
look
hear
who
me?
we have to choose
Neek, do
from.
you hear me? I want you to attack his argument, not him.
Look
He
who
didn't
we have
attack
to
you.
choose from. That's my
He didn't.
argument. They pick
He
better
didn't.
men. Look who
If
men.
you,
Look what men we have to choose
if
from.
he said everything without ever pointing at you. So if you can do the same thing back, that's all I'm asking.
Look what we have to choose from.
Okay, continue.
You telling me we pick better men? Do we live in middle class neighborhoods? A whole bunch of us. A whole bunch of us do not. Do we live that type of lifestyle? Do we have money? A lot of black people don't. Most black people don't. So look who we have to choose from. Who is protecting us? Who is making us feel safe? None of them. None of y'all. So how you gonna tell us we choosing bad when look who we have to choose from? That's my argument.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, so I want to go rewind a little bit back to like the training. Yes, I do believe that men have to train their wives, and women also train their husbands. The way you're reinforcing the training is not, they don't call it training. You can call it learning. You can call it understanding. You can put whatever words you want to put on there. Okay, but it's all the same thing. We are learning each other or understanding each other or training each other. And men give women gifts or whatever it is that she likes, that positive reinforcement. Women give men compliments or sex or whatever it is that he likes for that positive reinforcement. And there is nothing wrong with training or learning or understanding your spouse because that's what you want to do to have a long-lasting relationship. Now, if you're there just for an experience, like Simon said, then there's no need to learn anything. Just go about your life and live how you want, and you'll be very miserable because no one will be trying to compliment the other person. Okay? And then when Ms. Neek said what we have to choose from, I feel that we attract what we are. If the energy you're putting out is, I don't have options, I can't find a good man, there are no good men, we are all poor, that's what you're going to get from the universe. I'm 38. I've yet to meet a man who doesn't want to provide for me. And what's crazy is, it's not necessarily that I feel like that's something I put out. Like if a person asks me what I'm looking for, I don't say I'm looking for a man to take care of me. I just take care of myself. I'm positive. I'm happy. I'm encouraging. I'm helpful. I'm a light. And so men who like to be in the light are attracted to me. Mm-hmm. If you like to live in the darkness, which are the men that Neek were speaking about, who have nothing and want nothing and are going nowhere, you won't want to step into the light of being with me. I did look up, because I was on another podcast that CKQ took me on, and I'm supposed to be on the 20th with Uncle Stu.
I thought it was the 19th.
It's the 20th. He said it was around the 19th. I didn't correct him.
Okay, that's right.
Men don't like to be corrected in public.
Not at all.
In public. So I try not to do that. But if you actually looked up Black men, half of Black men are earning at middle class and above. And that was in like 2018. So I would think with the explosion of the internet, it could possibly be higher than that. So Black men can provide. They are earning And half of those men that are earning are from single parent households. So we do have good men to choose from. You just have to be able to know when you come across a good man. I think like what John was saying, you can't pick a person from prison and choose him from his potential. I think Black women have a tendency to want a project. We have a tendency to choose men for their potential. And that is wrong. We have to value ourselves more and know that we don't deserve a project or potential. We deserve an actualized, successful man. Doesn't mean that he won't need some help to get better at whatever, because everyone needs help. You are never going to be perfect. There's always something that you can improve. However, don't start at the bottom of the barrel to choose a man, because I came from the hoodest of the hood. That is not the type of man I was going to choose. I'm not about to choose a man from that, because that's not where I wanted to be. And when I say that, it's not even about location. It's about your mindset, because my husband is also from the hood, but we don't live in the hood now because neither one of us wanted to live that life. And he proved that he didn't want to live that life because he went out and got a skill. He made it tangible to me for me to see that he's going to be able to provide for me. I didn't choose him because he had the potential to provide. He was able to do that when I chose him.
Chris, you want to say something before?
Nope.
No.
She said it all. Great job, Danielle. But it's called build-a-boo syndrome. It's a problem.
Build a boo and save a hoe.
There it is. Okay. I want to do this quick reaction. Pretty much pertaining to having to, before the billions, coming up to the chat. Hello, sir.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Fantastic. How about yourself?
I'm doing well.
So,
busy boy. You all right?
I mean, thank you for coming up to my panel. Thank you for coming up to join the conversation. Actually, it's been a pretty good one. You've probably heard a good amount of it so far. So what do you think?
Actually, I just got out of an interview, so I'm just now tuning in, and I heard a little bit of what she was saying about dating for potential versus like already having that potential. I think that is a great way of thinking about it. When I think about myself when I was younger, right? I think about like, okay, you know what? I grew up in the hood. I was somebody who I was not hood though, right? But I was somebody who just lived in a bad area. And I could have gone many different ways in my life to where I could have been, in like gangs or anything like that. But with that, I was able to grow and then be able to get into the field that I'm in now, be able to become a better version of myself. So that way I'm not going to be in here, being a person who's just, like he's just only potential. You know what I mean? Like I had plenty of potential, but I was actually able to act upon that. And that's why I was able to get to where I am now.
You weren't working on your next mixtape for a couple of years?
But I really had to I had to work on myself.
I'm a rapper at 42.
But I did not want to become a rapper or anything. So, but yeah.
Okay. So, before we hop into the video before the billions, do you want to comment on this? Should men have to train their women to be wives?
Should men have to train their women to be wives? If you're talking about their father maybe, or I don't think.
I'm talking.
Are you talking about? Okay, you talking about men, or are you just talking about their significant other?
Should men, us, have to train the women that we're courting to become our wives?
Well, I think yes.
What
did you say, Simon?
After the fact, so like if a woman's not if she's not sort of coming to you to be like as a wife, Like, do you train her after, like, whilst you're in that relationship?
I'll say it like this. I don't necessarily know about like training her to be a wife, but I think that to be what he would want a wife in, in life. You know what I mean? Like, okay, I like these types of things. I like this to be done a certain way. So you can say, hey, you know what? Um, you learn through actually interacting with your significant other. So, just like same thing for the man, right? Is that I can't say that my girlfriend is training me to be a husband because I would always consider myself to be husband material.
I think
But
Danielle
then,
said she is.
oh, she
Yeah.
is. But it's in the sense of like, okay, you know what? I see what you like, and then I'm like, okay, you know what? I act upon that, and I'm actually able to do what you want or be able to do what you like or whatever. So that's I guess you call that training, but that's more so what I would think of.
Yeah.
Oh, Chris
Chris,
wants to talk
you
now.
muted.
Sorry, really fast. I was on ladies' night. I can't think of his name, but he described it as like a woman has like default settings, like a wife default, and then the man customizes her to fit him. I thought that was a really good way to put it. I was like,
Yep.
exactly. Like you already have that wife setting on, but he just kind of goes in, he makes some tweaks that fit him, adds some shortcuts.
Totally.
To
Else,
be the wife for him. I think that,
wouldn't you expect that from a man, though? I mean, to be fair, like if, like, you get with a guy, you've got your expectations as a woman, and you're expecting him to be able to. You've gone through this process where you're positioning yourself to be a wife. The guy that you're sort of looking to fit with, shouldn't he have his act together so that when you interact with him or when you get together, it's like, he should be a husband. I mean, you get there's these phrases like Pookie and Ray Rays and whatnot and this, that, the other, but there's men out here who are, they spend their whole life working toward being a husband to find a wife.
Real quick before, because I want.
Oh, I didn't mean to. Sorry.
No. That's fine. That's fine. I want you to hold on to that because I did want to do this reaction video. So if everyone could do me a favor and mute your mics. This is from Anton Daniel's channel from Crimson Cure, who Danielle, a lot of people say you remind them of. Fair use, fair use.
The value of a wife, or at least that's what I was hearing. I don't know the original question or what was being spoken beforehand. So forgive me if I don't have that context. But it brought to mind some of the things that I hear in this space where it's like, well, women don't really bring value to you, or, I'm not responsible for teaching her something. I shouldn't have to teach my wife how to be a wife. Yes, you do. That's actually the husband's job. See, when we come ready to be wives, that means we're willing to be wives. That's what the readiness is. We're willing to do it. But we don't know inherently what each man needs us to do in his life. We don't know that. A husband's job is to educate, educare, to draw out what is within that woman. That's what the vetting process does, to draw it out so that he can see what's in her before he actually makes any sort of commitment to her, which is why I advocate courtships and all of this other type of stuff. When I hear things like, well, it's got to be the 3-date rule because I'm not going to go on 3 dates unless she give me sex. That comes from a person who thinks that women's only value is her sex. That's is her only value. That's the only thing that she can give him in exchange for what he gives her. That's why I don't like dating. That's why we don't date in Islam. We don't do that because
I don't date
pointless.
it. I don't believe in
Um,
dating either, though, Crimson.
Very good.
exactly. Exactly.
Thoughts? Meek, thoughts on that? If you're still there.
Yeah, I'm still here. um, like I said, as far as teaching your wife how to do this and do that, to me that sounds like training dogs. You train dogs, not me. And I feel like when you first come into marriage, you think like Disney. That's what it's not going to be like that. Your husband's not going to know everything. He ain't going to be able to teach you everything. Like that's not reality. It's not going to happen. Both people are going to have problems. Everybody come together with problems. So it's going to be like that. So to tell somebody that this person is supposed to be the one to teach me how to be a person, no. You teach yourself how to be a person. You teach yourself how to love yourself so then other people can love you. I learned that engulfing myself into somebody else and not into myself, that's what leads to your downfall in your relationship. Because if you don't take care of yourself, everything just follows behind where you're not taken care of. So, I mean, and I've been married I've been with this man for 17 years and we've been married for 14 years. So I'm not saying that I'm an expert, but hey, I think I know a little something about being married. But I'm just, it doesn't, that just reminds me of master slave relationship. Like I can't deal with, I like partnership. I like 50-50. That's just me. And my husband is okay with it. So, that's just me. It's my perspective.
Okay, that's fair. That's your perspective.
Yeah.
Tack Williams, listen, it's an honor to have you on the panel, man. Thank you for coming up.
Hey, good evening, everyone. CKQ, I appreciate being on the panel, man. I'll be checking you out, ever since we met on the live stream the other evening, I think, with Uncle Stu.
Uncle Stu, yes.
Yeah. So I appreciate it, man. I like the way you handle your program, and
Thank you
that's
very
dope,
much.
man.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was listening to some of the questions and paying attention to, the responses and stuff. I just think when it comes to the husband and wife, I'll just say transparency. I've never been married, but I've been in relationships 10 years at a time, full commitment and all of that exclusive. Wow. And I just think it goes both ways. I think the technique and the approach is different. I think that my lady at the time, she was a little more sophisticated about training me, but she still got it in, and nothing's wrong with that. It's like, it's not so much you come in and you say, hey, I need to be trained, but like the young lady said, like the gentleman said, it has to be done. This woman didn't know how to cook for me. She didn't know I like lamb, but I didn't eat beef or pork. She didn't even know how to cook lamb, right? So where did she go? She had her grandmother teach her how to make it. And then after her grandmother taught her how to make it and the veggies that go with it, she tweaked it according to the seasons that I like, right? So I'm just giving a small example of that. I think that there was a situation, I was in another relationship and it didn't work out after about 6 years. And I told her, at the end, when you finish fighting, I don't mean physically, but when the relationship is over and you can have those real talks, and I let her know. I said, you know what? I think you want to wear the jeans, man. So I gotta go. You know what I'm saying? I think you want to be the guy or something like that. And I don't mean physically or sexually, but I'm just saying the mindset. And so I let her know I probably failed at something, or I'm overlooking it, or it probably was me too, because nobody wants to admit. Everybody has to be accountable or whatever like that. So I just think the responses you're getting from people is solid, and along those lines, it's probably a balance in there sometimes, and that has a lot to do with culture, age, sex, different things like that.
Pretty good
I
answer.
like to hear y'all from Baltimore say two. Can you say two one more time for me?
Two. You know what I'm saying? I'm in Chicago right now. I used to live in Baltimore, and then I moved to Harlem in New York, and then I moved from Harlem and I moved to Chicago. So that's where I'm at now.
You.
Before the billions, what were we saying? What were we talking? What did you think of the video?
Yeah. So overall, I think the video, because I've been watching Anton for a while now, and I love when he had these panels. It always opens up my mind whenever I'm thinking about like, okay, they talk, mostly it's about dating and stuff like that. About the video in general, I love the Crimson Cure's point when you're talking about like the relations between men and women, like having to actually, make sure that people get along and stuff like that. And then, of course, and then Anton came in. He always talks about, I don't believe in dating, and I think that the fact that figuring out the kind of person that you want to be with, before get married is an important thing. I mean, like you can't just get with that one person. Not everybody has that same setup. Just like an Anton did, where he found his wife, um, you know, quick and easy, but then not everybody has that same setup. So, but yeah, that's pretty much what I think. I think that you need to have some vetting in place, of course, for people, before they go ahead and get married.
So let me throw this at you. If someone's never grown up with a two-parent household, if someone has no idea what that dynamic even looks like, then how could they know how to properly vet?
Yeah, so I'll give my example. Right, is that of me. Well, actually, I had a two-parent household until I was 5 years old. And then after that, I don't remember anything before before I was 5 years old, right? So I don't really know what it looks like too much. But the only way I can see it is from my grandparents. Now, my grandparents in themselves were not traditional. My grandma was the breadwinner. My granddad was not the breadwinner in the relationship. So it was flipped in that way. But what I would say about vetting is that we need more people in the space to kind of give out that information out there. Because with me, I didn't know how to vet. Right? I don't expect people to know how to vet without having somebody either guide them. And then because of, of course, your space is a way that you actually talk about these types of topics. Because when I was younger, we didn't have anything like this. We didn't have anybody talk about relationships. It's you kind of were just all on your own. And with that, you end up getting into relationships with people, and you're like, oh, you know what? They said they like me, so now we in a relationship. And you don't really know what to vet or what a red flag looks like. Somebody can be waving a red flag in front of you, and you'd be like, oh, well, I'll deal with it. I can learn how to live with it.
It looks very festive with that flag. That's it.
Right. So yeah, overall, I don't expect people to know how to do it by themselves, but I think because we're giving more information out there, having people who are older also coming up and then telling us like, hey, watch out for this. If somebody's out here hitting on you or something like that, if somebody's out here talking bad about you, being negative, you don't need to be with that person. Stuff like that that you would think would be common sense, it's not really that common. So, you need to go ahead and understand these things by listening to others, by listening from other people's mistakes, because you don't want to make those same mistakes yourself.
Because I feel myself getting sleepy. So that's why I wanted to talk to you about.
Who's saying that? Who's talking?
I think it's coming from Neek, but I don't think she knows that she's not on mute.
Okay.
Okay.
I was wondering. I was like, hopefully, I ain't put you to sleep.
It's not coming from me.
Oh, it's not going. Was that from John? Was that from you, John?
The world may never know.
Simon, what are we talking, man?
I don't know. I mean, the thing is, it's like it depends on a lot of things. I'm gonna get real honest with you guys. You know, I wasn't privileged enough to sort of be brought up in a household with two parents up until the point that I was 16. So I pretty much raised myself after that. Before that, I had two parents. Not to say that they were not forthcoming and brilliant people. They were.
So you said until 16. You had parents until 16.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I pretty much raised myself up until the age of 16, like from the age of 16 upwards. So, but my parents are brilliant. You know, they were well statured people. You know, I had everything. And then from there on in, I had to sort of learn life. I had to sort of figure out life by myself. And a lot of the conversations that go on, that's what I hear. I hear a lot of things that go on in terms of you know, people that experience different things. In terms of relationships, you can't really sort of fathom that sort of stuff until you get your shit together. And it's only a certain point in time where you sort of figure your stuff out, and then like that's nothing that can come through like the education system or this, that, the other. It's like it's just a life journey, and you might be fortunate or disfortunate enough to bump into different types of people. I was fortunate enough to have a mentor, and that mentor sort of guided me in a way that was very positive, to say the least. So, you know, I think that's why sometimes I get on these channels and on these platforms, and I say the best thing to do is, you know, like before the billions, like you see people and you gauge from them, and you know, you can see them as a mentor. Gauge that, take that, and get everything you can from that, and live your life. At the same time, you know, YouTube ain't everything. Obviously, we all have our own lives offline. You know, we all have our own people that are not willing to sort of come up here and do all that sort of stuff. But you know, but it's all. I just try to push the positive. And
I think you got away from the question a little bit. I'm not gonna lie to you.
yeah, please retract me.
Yeah. You you rambled a little bit. I'm gonna let it slide.
No, do that to me, please. I do that. I please. What's the question?
John, you still there?
Yep, I'm just waiting to talk.
Okay. So, well, are you gonna talk?
Nah, you was telling Simon you was about to say something, and I'm probably gonna chime in on it. So go ahead.
No, I was going to jump to you. That's why I asked you.
Well, I mean, I always like what, you know, I don't always get a chance to watch Anton, but it's Anton shows, but he do put together some really good panels, and they do make some really good points. And one part that I really wanted to touch on was when she was saying that that's all. I couldn't hear that part. That's all that she had. That all that we have to offer. What exactly was she talking about when she said that? Because it cut out a little bit. I didn't hear it.
She was saying that if a man is saying that, oh, after the third date, if she's not having sex with me, then she's not worth it. She's not worth my time. That man only sees you as a sexual object. He doesn't see you as anything beyond just sex. So that man is not really courting you for anything beyond sexual pleasure.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I believe that if you, first of all, if you got to be dating with a purpose, like if you dating with a purpose as a man, then you should have the discipline to just remove the sex from it. You know what I mean? If you're dating with a purpose. But if, you and her both know that this can't go nowhere, no way, and y'all attracted to each other, then by all means, bring the physical into it. But if you're dating with a purpose and you're dating to be married, then you should remove the sex from it, because sex clouds your judgment tremendously on both sides. As a woman, it clouds your judgment, and as a man, it clouds your judgment. You start to think more from a lust and confuse it with love, and then you start making really bad decisions. This person, you don't have you're not compatible or complementary. You have no compatibility or complements of each other, but instead you just gonna force this square into this circle, and we just gonna make it work. We just gonna make it work until we stretch the boundaries of this circle and get the circle around the square. Which is what we're gonna do. And then one day it just pops off and you're divorced, and then you've wasted 10, 20, 15 years of your life, 15 years of your youth that you can't get back with the person that you should have been with in the first place. And then why do you think a certain way? I mean, how do you see you? Before you even start dating, how do you see you? Unique made a really good point earlier before Clement stopped her, because she know I made bad decisions, but here's the thing about me. I don't care, and I voice them all the time. I had trashy women, and I picked them because of me, who I was at that point in my life. I picked trashy women. But why did I pick trashy women? Because I was trash myself. I just made a lot of money. That didn't make me any better because I made a lot of money. I was still trash. But I also felt some kind of way when I attracted women who made good money. One of the reasons I felt some kind of way is because I don't really care how much money she made. I knew I had the mentality to be the provider, but I was feeling some kind of way about me. So she scared me. She was going to challenge me, or maybe she even embarrassed me. I didn't want that. So I would avoid those women. I picked a woman who had a very high need to be needed financially. Men have a need to be needed, because if you make us feel like we're not needed, then we're gonna leave. And if the only reason we're gonna stay is because we have kids with you, that don't make you valuable. That just means you're pitiful, because I'm showing you pity. I'm staying because of kids, but I'm miserable. So nah, it's not. Picking who you're gonna be with is probably the main caveat from this entire conversation. What we talking about? Because once you get into the relationship, it's too late. You picked them, now you got to work with it. Shouldn't have to be that way.
I don't really think there's anything wrong with picking. And, the thing is, I think men and women and us as people need to get a bit more mature about this whole situation. And we're sort of going around like this whole spiral about like, it's your fault, it's my fault. And I'm getting a bit too emotional, so I need to sort of hop off. But it's just like, for there's so much levels to this, and I think the conversation's good, but at the same time, it's like I'm trying not to get personal with this, like in terms of my personal situation.
Let me ask you something. If wouldn't it mean more to you if someone was actually giving you advice that they've lived through themselves?
Yeah, I mean,
So, I mean, if you're coming here to either, you can listen. I'm not telling you to say what you can obviously say whatever you want to say. I'm saying if you're coming to give advice, or if you would like to give advice to someone out there, then you could cater your life, but also give something that someone could actually relate to, because someone can actually learn from what we're saying here. That's why John speaks his truth. I speak my truth. I've screwed up a lot in life. You get me? So say what you think would actually help someone. Say what you think would actually help your younger self.
Can I add in on something? Real
Yeah,
quick?
go for it.
Yeah, so a few things I just want to say is that I think that if you spend, 10, 15 years with somebody, I don't think that you waste your time with somebody. Um, just like, if let's say you got married and then you end up spending 10, 15 years in the marriage and you end up getting divorced. I don't think that was a waste of time. Because that's just saying like, okay, your choice didn't matter. Your choice in that person, your time, your effort didn't matter at all. Because I'm saying that it does matter because you have either gained or you have lost or you have gained some experience from that situation. I don't want somebody to go through, a 20-year marriage, end up getting divorced, and they're like, oh man, that was a whole waste of 20 years. But you learn from that, and then now you make better decisions, and now you probably most likely gonna be a better person than where
Right.
you were when you were younger. Um, and then also another thing is that we need to figure out how long between these dates are they saying? Because when you're talking about 3 dates, I mean, like if I see you every day for a week and we went on 3 dates, does that mean what I mean? Like that's too short of a time, I think. But then if you're saying, like, okay, we went out on dates over a certain period of time, like let's say we went on a date every week for 3 weeks. I mean, like you know the person for 3 weeks, or maybe you have known them longer, you just started dating for that long. You know what I mean? It's gonna be different per the person. Um, but I think that you should not be making decisions, especially decisions as tough as whether or not you're going to have relations with somebody without actually knowing them. But you should also not do it if you don't want to do it yourself. You know what I mean? If you sit here and say, okay, I already don't want to do it with somebody, or if I had to, persuade myself into doing it, I don't think you should do it. I think you should, most definitely, if you get to that point where somebody's pressuring you, don't go through with it. Nobody should tell you, oh, you know what? After 3 dates, and I saw you 3 days in a row, and you ain't give it up to me, then that's the end of it. Then oh well, it's okay. You don't have to get into a relationship or stay in a relationship with somebody who's gonna like pressure you into doing something you don't want to do. But also have like a deadline on when you want to get things done. Like, okay, you know what? I want to get into a relationship after maybe like a month or so after talking or something like that. I think that's a good amount of time. You know what I mean? Like have like a don't just have it open ended where oh it could be 6 months later. Okay, now we can be boyfriend and girlfriend. You know what I mean? So don't waste people time by doing that. Go ahead and have some kind of idea as to how long you want.
Okay.
Yeah, I just think the narrative, like to answer your question, the narrative is what B2B said, right? Like in terms of from a younger perspective. I don't know what that is. I'm sort of like looking at that from a longer term perspective in terms of having those conversations with younger people because that's what I do. But I met my wife on a whim. I saw her, she saw me, and within sort of like 2 weeks we were married. So maybe that's something that we need. Yeah. So maybe that's something, and another conversation, because we, have these conversations based on what a lot of people see on YouTube in terms of 3 months, 6 months, this, that, and blah blah blah. I think when you meet the one, and it, and you're in that position to actually sort of facilitate that, both of you, based on your locations and all types of specifics, it happens.
Okay. I'm going to drop this question to the panel. All right. Constantly hooking up emotionally damages men and women. Constantly hooking up emotionally damages men and women.
Chewing right out of this one.
Tech.
Yeah, man. Hey, let me ask you something. Let me ask you a question for clarification. CKQ, when you say constantly hooking up emotionally damages men and women, you mean constantly hooking up with the same person or different? Oh, yeah. I think for me, I'll just speak for me. It raised my level of indifference. Okay. So that indifference of being a little stale or insensitive to where a person might really be at, even though we were just hooking up, right? So like for me, I remember being out in the street on the other side of the law, right? And I got my main girl. You got hood money, not rich. You just got hood money, right? And you could be a target, people flaunting themselves at you. You have the luxury of thises and that's and whatever sometimes. And I remember going through that phase. And sometimes, man, the women, they was taking you serious. They really want to understand your thinking and all of that. But once you start moving like that, and I was basically cashing them out in my mind, but some of them was really paying attention to me. Like, you're a good guy. You seem like you could be doing something else and all of that. So I probably missed people taking me more serious as a man to potentially get with me in a real relationship, whether it started off physical or not, or however it started. And because of that hooking up thing, if you want to say that. So I would agree. I said all of that to say I do agree. Typically somebody's going to be affected, typically. Yeah.
Danielle?
I think it could be. I think for women, I don't think that they are hooking up just to hook up most of the time. I think once they give their body to someone, they probably expect it more. And when they don't get it, that could definitely be damaging and make them mistrust men and themselves because they keep on putting themselves in that type of situation. I don't really know about men and how they feel. Like, I go with my guy over there and what he said. But I do think that it's possible to not be emotionally damaged either. If you're not going into it with no type of expectation, you're not looking to be with this person or anything like that, it's possible to also not be damaged. So, I think it's possible to go either way, depending on you and what you expecting.
Okay.
No. No. Women, yeah. I think it has more of a effect probably. But I can speak for me. It didn't. No. Nah. Absolutely not. Emotionally, I mean, it's not emotional connection there for real, for real. It's just sex.
So for you personally,
Yeah.
let's take you personally out. Let's say
Right.
for men in general, you think that still applies to
Nah,
most men?
some men, no, not across all nations. No, not across all men. Absolutely not. No, it would have it would have effect on some men. I mean, I mean, yeah, it can emotionally, because you got some men that do, some men emotions are involved in the sexual experience. Some men are like that. Some men are definitely like that. And they do want more. They feel like if a woman give them sex, that's their next wife. Oh, I want to marry her. She loves me. And then when it don't happen, what kind of, what, now you got a aversive reaction to redheads or something, whatever this woman looked like, you got a problem with it because she didn't pan out. She was giving you the signs. All she want to do is hook up, and you misread those signs because you were yearning for an emotional connection. So yeah, I believe some men, it can damage you, and I definitely believe with women it definitely can damage you, have you toxic, walking around here all bitter. Because at one point, I think if you do it so much, you're gonna start to feel like no one really wants you for you, and this is all they want you for. Not only that, it makes you callous toward men, toward men. And I think it can make you, like my guy over here was saying, make you a little callous toward women. If you do too much of anything, it has no value after a while. You start hooking up a lot, it just has no, it just has no value.
All right. I know you have to get going.
Mm-hmm.
So you're obviously a staple to the panel. So give yourself a shout out, big yourself up. You know what I mean?
Hey, you can reach me at Black Wall Street Trading LLC, or behavioral consultant, behavioral_consultant on IG. You're probably more likely to just find me here on the podcast because my son is with me now, and I gotta play the mom and daddy role, so it's cool.
You gotta
But
be a
you
good
hit me
father.
up.
You
Yeah,
gotta be a good man. Okay?
gotta be a
You
good
gotta be a
example
good
for
man.
him because we raise a man around here.
There we go.
All
That's
right.
what I
All right, have a great one, man.
Yep.
Awesome. Chris, did we get to you? Okay. Constantly hooking up emotionally damages men and women.
Yes, and I like that you put emotionally in the question. I personally, I don't think sex is ever just sex, but I do understand that some people do think that. I think the minute you sleep with someone hoping for something in return, you're going to create some type of damage. The minute you give up something of value and you don't see that value in return, it's never given back to you. Nothing's ever reciprocated. I think that's definitely going to create a lot of issues for you personally. I think it can be for men or for women. And I think it can be, even if you're hooking up with the same person regularly, I think that's even worse. Hoping that by hooking up with them, you'll get something more, and then you never get it. So I know a lot of people are trying to not a lot, but there are some people trying to push this hookup culture. And they like to assume that you can just take all the emotions out of it. But I do think that once somebody is hoping for more, they're hoping for some sort of commitment, it's going to create some type of damage, some type of resentment or bitterness eventually.
Okay. Neek. Neek still there? Oh,
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Let's go ahead.
Definitely, absolutely. I don't know how many words to say yes, but it definitely emotionally damage men and women and can really destroy your life and health. just just doing that. I mean, when I was young, people like Nicki Minaj and that type of music, or people that flaunted that, we didn't like praise them. Like, back in the days, if somebody was like that, they looked down on that as a girl. So, so it's kind of like, I don't get that either. But anyway, I heard somebody mention Nicki Minaj, but that's how we get, to me, how we got here with Nicki Minaj and everything, all this stuff of people hooking up and not really taking into account and the consequences of what you're doing to your body, not just your emotional health. I feel like men are givers, we receivers. So it's kind of like we can't, you got too many people, too many spirits. It's not just, you can't do that. You got too many ghosts, too many spirits if you take in too many people. So women shouldn't do all that, and that can damage your
Nobody
health
got time for that.
and your emotions. So yes, I'm sorry.
That's good. That's good. That's fair. I like what CJ says. CJ, if you have some time, come up here, explain your point. I agree with Tack on how it can make men indifferent. I think men should become indifferent when it comes to that until you meet a thorough woman. See, okay, I got a lot to say to that. But before the billions, I'm going to let you speak real quick.
Right. Thank you. So the answer to the question to me is like, yes, obviously too much of anything is going to be bad. And when it comes to men going out there, I don't know why this perception that, it doesn't affect men or something like that. What I will say is that, when you talk about across men in general, right? You're going to have some sort of emotional attachment to people who you have relations with. Not everybody is going to be out here, knocking them down. Not everybody's, is extremely great with women. Some people, some men, as soon as they get some, then they'll, you know, that is first time they ever got some, then that'd be that will be exactly what they want, right? And so they'll get into a relationship because of that as well. Uh, it most definitely does affect men and women when you're talking about having relations, and especially if you're doing it with multiple people, right? Some people it only take one to do it for some people, but and just like how John was saying, it didn't affect him. There's also women who it doesn't affect either, right? So you have it on both ways. So you can't say either gender is going to have an advantage over the other when it comes to feeling emotional.
Okay. I want to tackle a little bit what CJ said. I agree with Tack on how it can make men indifferent. I think men should become indifferent when it comes to that until you meet a thorough woman. I think it's before the billions you have to go.
Yeah, I do have to drop. But
No worries.
thank you guys so much for having me up on the panel. It's my first time. I really do appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of
Have
course,
a
man.
great one, man.
Hold on, man. Shout out your channel, bro.
What's up, everybody? This is William from Before the Billions. I am a professional data engineer, and on my channel, I teach you how to get into the tech industry. I go through many different discussions about different topics, and also I do interviews on my channel. So if any of those things have interested you, then please go check out my channel. I actually did an interview with the Blooming Ebony the other day, and it was a great interview, great discussion. So thank you guys again for having me up, and I will see you on the next one.
Oh, there he is. Coming up to defend the title. CJ.
What's up? What's up?
I got on, CJ. Coming up to defend the title. Could you close off YouTube? Yeah.
My fault.
Got me being like Kevin Samuels up here, man. Come on, man.
I know, bro. I know. What's
Yeah.
good?
What's going on, man? How you doing?
Man, you know what? I tried to change my name before I actually went up on there. But whatever. That's fine. But I'm great, man. How about y'all?
Fantastic.
Good, good. I'm glad to see everybody. So you said you wanted me to defend my point on that.
Yeah, or speak on anything you want, but thoroughly, yeah, more defend your point.
Yeah, I mean, um, I think men should become indifferent when it comes to that. Be safe until you meet a woman that's thorough enough, because it only affects men when you care about the woman. It only affects men when you care about the woman. A man who's used to getting women and who's used to being with different girls doesn't matter to them. You should become indifferent because every woman's not worth your time emotionally. So I think you should become very indifferent when it comes to that until you meet a woman that's thorough enough to be worth your time and energy. Sex
Can
is
I
sex to most men.
can I
So
ask you? Do you think a man moving in his full masculinity can make any woman a wife?
no.
Can he make most women?
Um, it depends. Honestly, I think there are a lot of women that want to be wives. I think there are a lot of women that don't want to be wives. It just depends on that woman. Um, just because a woman will sleep with you and want to be with you, that doesn't mean she's good wife material. I think a
Agree.
lot of people get that confused. Just because a woman will sleep with you or do things for you, that doesn't mean she's good for her to have her around in the long term. You have to be a better chooser of people as well. Now, if she's just somebody you want to smash off for a night, then fine. But when you trying to pick somebody based on this is who I want to rock with forever, then you got to be more thorough because I don't care how masculine you are. There's always somebody that's more masculine, that has more money, that looks better than you. So, I mean, that's kind of, I think that's silly to say that, oh, an alpha or masculine is full masculine can make any woman a wife. That's stupid. If that's the case, it wouldn't be no YouTube channels and everything like that out here.
Because here's the thing: because Crimson was saying the man would have to train the woman to be a wife, right? Meaning that any woman could be trained to be a wife. No? Okay. Where am I wrong?
Yeah, I don't
She
think that's
didn't
what
say
she
any woman. What she said was a woman has to be ready and willing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Once she's ready and willing, then you can teach her. But if she's not either of those, then there's nothing you can do.
And you're teaching her how to be your wife, not just a wife in general, if that makes sense.
Your wife, correct. If you're constantly running around, you don't think you're going to run into far more women that want to be?
That want to be your wife?
That want to be wives. Yeah, that would want to be your wife. If you're moving with intention in your life, if you're going out, you're grinding, you're making money, you're moving the right way, you don't think most women are going to want to try to settle down with you?
Sure, that don't mean they're wife potential though. They can want to settle down all day, but you can settle down with a horrible person. That doesn't mean that they're good wife or good LTR material. I mean, just because you're gonna attract women regardless. If you move in a certain way, if you got us working hard on his grind, you're gonna attract all kinds of women. You're probably gonna attract murderers, serial killers, just all kind of people. It doesn't matter, but it's just you still have to choose wisely. You know what I'm saying? You don't just want to pick anybody that you see. It's still all about choosing wisely. And then if you're not in that space, if you ain't looking for a wife, or you look, LTR means long-term relationship. If you ain't looking for
someone asked that.
Yeah, if you ain't looking for a wife or you're not looking for that at the moment, then you should make that known. Like, listen, baby, I ain't about that. I'm just trying to smash for the night, keep it moving, and do what I need to do. You know what I'm saying? I ain't looking for no wife. I'm looking for a night. You dig? So, yeah.
The man always dropping bars, dropping gold.
I'm trying, man. I'm trying.
I think it's I don't know. I don't think that's a necessarily a good narrative for men to try to go behind. Me personally,
that's fine.
I think that if anything, men need to move with intention in their life. I think that not a lot of men are doing that nowadays. I mean, I could attest for myself. Prior to understanding how I should be moving or deciding how I want to where my future should be, I really didn't have any kind of intention. So when I moved with a girl, there was never any intention behind being with that girl. You know what I'm saying?
Well, at that point you were just leading her astray then.
Correct.
If my intention is that I don't want a wife at this point in my life because I'm grinding, and I'm letting that be known to whomever I'm dealing with, that's one thing. But if I'm selling this girl roses, it's a totally different story. My intention is not to get a wife at the moment. I'm moving with intention. It's just not to be with you.
Okay.
You know, it's focusing on that bag. That's my intention. That's the most important thing in my life right now. If that's how I'm moving. But if I'm not moving that way and I am looking for a wife, then I am going to be more intentional in how I move.
Young men out here, would you say they are?
I don't know, bro. I can't, like, I can't call it right now because, like I said, man, we live in a generation now where men think it's cool to be house husbands, and I ain't about that life. So what I think is different and what other people may think is good, I ain't really, I'm a little different. I'm not a part of this new millennial liberal. I don't believe in house husbands. I think that's whack, especially if there's nothing wrong with him and he's able-bodied. I think that's trash. But, it worked for some people, so I ain't here to judge, but that's totally whack to me. So I don't know if young men moving like that because, it's a lot of bussified young men out here. You dig? So,
Okay. I'm going to drop the next question. Can you become complacent with someone you love?
No doubt.
Yeah. I mean, is becoming complacent, is that a recipe for a failure in that relationship?
It can.
100%.
You get too much room.
100%. A lot of dudes stop working on their purpose. They get fat, out of shape, stop grinding,
start cheating.
Right, doing all the things that what you did to attain a woman, you stop doing it. So you become complacent because you got her. And
because that complacency can. Oh, excuse me, bro. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, that complacency, it can transform into a sense of taking someone for granted. You know what I'm saying? It's a thin line between the two. It's like, yeah, you laying back, but that's the act in and of itself. But then the idea here is now you taking me for granted. So now you're not on your game no more. You're not even on your grind. It's not about us anymore. You doing your own thing. And because you love that person and she might not have the voice or the presence to remind you that it is about us, without being the angry black woman, then yeah, if you can't handle that, it can end bad for you. And I don't mean physically fights. I'm just saying that relationship, that love slip away. And then like I was in a relationship, I was in love and I messed that up. And then, we was trying to be friends, which we was after that. But then she tried to upgrade me to be her first cousin, still come around and hang out with the family. I wasn't doing that, man. It was done. I screwed it up. No, because that's what happens a lot of times in these relationships where you're in love with somebody and then at the end, they want you to be like their family member or their second cousin or something, and because you cool with the family, right? But I don't do it, man. I just messed it up. So yeah, I can attest to that, man. You got to be very mindful, and that's why when I see the sister, and anybody of faith, it's just that hers is obvious and she speaks on it, right? I don't know other people's faith. I know that she's walking on a constitution, a foundation. She's is rules of engagement. She has something, whatever that is, whether I agree with it or not. And that's different because she won't get lost in the man or the object of the other person in and of itself because she's walking on something greater anyway. And then everything is, if you want to say submissive to whatever that is. And if you don't have that and you can just make it up as you go along, it's just dangerous, man. But I said all that to say, yeah.
Can you become comfortable in a relationship though? Would that be the same thing as complacency?
Yeah. Heck yeah.
So complacency is comfortable on steroids though.
Yeah. 100%. Remember how y'all was talking about passion and all that stuff? How people don't have passion? That's because people become complacent with doing the same thing over and over again. And I hold men 110% accountable for that.
That's right.
I found myself becoming complacent. I said, oh no, I got to step it up. I gotta step it up. If I because if you become complacent, your woman by nature gonna become complacent, or she's going to upgrade you, one or the other. You did what I'm saying. And if you are constantly on your grind and on your purpose and doing what you're supposed to do, making sure you look good and everything like that, she's going to do that out of fear of being replaced. You dig what I'm saying? Or, that's just how I go. What up, Uncle Stu?
What's going on? Look, I got
Uncle Stu, what's up, man?
what's going on. I got jokes.
Let's hear it.
Miss Ebony, I'm coming after you now. My sister Keeper's already coming on my show since he done got Tack Williams and the high value nurse. Nah, man, that's you cold,
man.
bro. You cold.
Listen, man. I didn't ask. They just came. Okay.
See. But no, I'm gonna just address this one, and then I'm gonna get off here. I'm not gonna stay long. Both sides are culpable. It is not just the man. Why? Because the whole family as a unit must have a vision. What do I mean? Because the reality is, when you have a vision, and if you have a long-term vision, and based on where you are within your marriage, everyone needs to have the long-term goal. You'll never get complacent when you're going after the long-term goals. And you have to recognize that as things change, the goals can change, but the vision must stay the same. So what do I mean? Let's say if you're in your 20s and your vision is to get a house, you're working towards that house. Once you meet that goal, then you achieve another goal. You keep going, goal after goal after goal after goal. A lot of people fall complacent because they have no vision. They have no drive. They have nothing that they have actually put on the table. A man can have a high vision, but if you have not purposed your woman in that vision, guess what? It still folds. A woman can have a vision. And if a man gets complacent going after the vision, then guess what? The family folds. So what I find is that as it is written, at least in one of the books, people perish for lack of knowledge, but they also die for lack of vision. Therefore, they're walking blindly. So when it's time to communicate, if you're going to have the intentions of marriage, it's not about the day of marriage. It's about the meaning and the purpose. Do I have purpose? And then do I see, now I'm going to speak as a man, do I see that this woman has a purpose in my life? And a lot of times we don't understand the purpose of each other, and therefore without purpose becomes meaning. When we get complacent, it's because I lost value in the very one I said I valued, whether that's the man or the woman. Because if she looks at you and all of a sudden she does not see her value, your value as a man, then she lose any credibility in you, no matter what your vision is. So let's take an example. If I say, baby, I'm going to start this business, and she loved the vision. She loved the fact I want to start a business, but I never start the business. I'm going to start losing what? Credibility. And therefore, I'm going to start losing my value. Therefore, talk becomes cheap. So I think that a lot of us get complacent because we are people without action. We are people who do not know how to communicate. And because we don't know how to communicate, we do not have actionable plans to get that done. I think too many times on these platforms, we tend to try to put everything on the man. I understand the philosophy of it, but God didn't just create the man. He created man and woman. And why? Because he created union. He created us to have purpose. He created us to have a vision. He created us for divine order. He created us to have dominion. It doesn't mean domination. It means dominion, rulership. And each one of us has a function within that rulership. Every home is going to operate a tad bit different. Doesn't matter the theology, doesn't matter the philosophy. We all going to operate different. So, for example, I'm in a position where I pay all the bills because I've developed that system. But I'm not going to put a man down if his wife also adds to the finances of that house. I'm not going to belittle him. Are you happy? Is she happy? I ain't got no business in his house. If Ebony decides to marry a man and she want to go out there and be the nurse and he's home taking care of the children and they happy, I don't have no right to call him less than a man. None. And I think that's the problem. We're trying to define manhood on words and philosophies that we have no rulership. My attitude is, are y'all productive in society? Are y'all happy? Guess what? I ain't got nothing to do with y'all because I got to run my house accordingly. Things have shifted. In certain economic fields, women probably can make more money. In other fields, men can make more money. So it becomes too much of this. Well, I want, this woman to come home and fix my sandwich. And it's like, well, what year are we living in, dude? I mean, my grandmother didn't do that. So can we get some realities right and get the narratives right instead of coming up with these archaic philosophies and it don't work that way. And I ask these people who come up with all this philosophy, are you married? And most of the time the answer is no. Never married, never been married. They just read a book. And I think what we got to do is start putting those who are married, have real long-term relationships, get in front of these narratives and say, look, the Johnsons run their house this way. The Stevens run their house this way. Abdul Shalom runs his house this way. Give everybody what they see. Okay, why do you run your house this way? Because suppose if the man got disabled and can't work. Suppose if the man caught a felony, and because he caught a felony at 18, he can't get out here and make the big money that others without a felony can do. Suppose if he doesn't have the skills because no one's willing to teach him the skills necessary for him to make higher source of income and resources. So I think we have to really dig in and investigate, is there a problem? What's the problem? Okay, what can be the solution? So it's really effective communication is where I see complacency, because a lot of times we're not communicating. When I'm just going to use Ebony, high value nurse. If Ebony's not expressing that she's unhappy, then high value nurse can't fix the problem. And a lot of times, by the time she's ready to cheat or she's ready to find another man, he never knew what the problem was. So he couldn't fix it. But guess what? The problem started 2 months ago, 3 months ago, 4 months ago. And when she's usually expressing the problem, she's usually expressing it probably to somebody that's close to him that says, oh, he didn't see value in you. Oh, I see value. And she's already lost in the source and the communication. All because what she should have done was talk to the husband. Hey, you've been, and I'm using high value nurse because I know he travels. You've been on the road. You've been traveling. I know you out there making the money. I appreciate, but you know what? Can you at least take a day off? Because the money don't matter to me. I just want some of your time. And we as men has to figure that out and say, you know what? Since you say that, I can work 5 days a week to pay all the bills. This one day is for us to travel, and I'm giving you all of me on a Sunday. We have to learn to have effective communication and give each other the grace. And that's how, at least in my vision, in my thought, and even in my practice, we have to be able to communicate so we don't become complacent. And we have to learn. And again, this is a learning process. We have to sometimes learn, and that includes me. So I'm talking to me. I'm just not talking to y'all. I'm talking to me too. Sometimes I got to look in the mirror and remember the value of the people in my life, because we can't get lost being on the grind. You know, I can get lost doing YouTube because I do so much that I can almost forget about everybody else around me because I'm on the grind. I'm out hustling. I'm out doing this. I'm out, doing my purpose. But as they say, what will you gain if you gain the whole world and lose your very soul going after the world?
I think that's the balancing act. That's the balancing act of this whole thing, though.
Exactly.
If you don't have resources, nobody's checking for you anyway, or people are unhappy. So you have to have a good balancing act as a man. And then you also, like you said, communication is to be on point, and you also have to have a partner that's thorough. You know what I'm saying? That can communicate and understand if this man is out here hustling the way he's supposed to, I have a rarity at that. So let me do what I have to do to support this guy, hold him down. He'll give me his time, or communicate that. And I agree with you, Uncle Stu. Like, that's why you got to have somebody that's thorough by your side.
Well, the thorough can't be, and I got you. I got you. Let me say this, the thoroughness, and this is what's missing in a lot of the language online. And it's missing offline too. What I'm trying to help men to do is that, yes, you're right. You're on your purpose. But a lot of us do what? We lose our family in the midst of our purpose. And then we say, well, she should have known I was on my grind. You know how many, when we really get down into the numbers of divorce, that's why I don't listen to a lot of these statistics. Do you know what the highest divorce rates are? Amongst doctors, lawyers, and military people. The very people that's not home all the time. And so I get it, high value. You out there grinding. But let me ask you a question. Is buying the big house, the 3 cars, all the material things, is it worth losing your wife and children over?
I mean, well, that depends on the person. One, I don't believe in material things as much. My outlook is completely different. But again, this is why I preach that from 16 to 30, a man should be on his grind, because no matter if you don't do enough, you're the bad guy. But if you do too much, you're the bad guy.
Let me ask you a question.
It's not enough.
I'm about to get real deep. You ready? Here's something that's not done online. You ready?
Let's get it.
I'm going to use Ebony one more time. Whose voice should you listen to, the people or Ebony?
I'm going to listen to my voice, respectfully. I'm going to listen to my own voice, because I have to lead this family. I have to lead whatever I'm doing.
I'm going to ask you again, and I want you to take a deep breath, because it ain't going to put you in no category. You ready? Earlier, you said the people will call me this. My question is, are you married to the people, or are you married to Ebony?
Yeah, married to Ebony.
Do you understand why I said sometimes, because these women will testify to this. Sometimes women date us for their friends and not for us. Can we get raw?
I got you.
Thank you, sir. Do you understand? I'm flipping the role. Sometimes women are not dating us for us. Sometimes they're dating us to impress their girlfriends. And so when we fall, they leave us because the girlfriends tells them that. But at the end of the day, the truth of the matter is I do what I do. Is my validation amongst men? Absolutely. Is it about me because I have to be healthy? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, who should I really be receiving my praise from in its essence? Is my woman. Because at the end of the day, she's the one I got to go to sleep with. At the end of the day, now if I had children, little children, she's the one that's taking care of the children. At the end of the day, what the world got to say about me doesn't matter. And
I
it
got a
takes
question for
maturity.
you.
It takes maturity to get there. So I get what you're saying. I totally get it. Do I agree? 16 to 35, man should be on his grind and on his purpose? Absolutely. As an older man who has seen some things, I have watched men get on the grind, get on the purpose, make all this money, do all these high accolades, just going after the bag, to the point where it becomes so addictive. And then what? They end up losing their kids because their kids don't know their daddy. Kids has rebelled. I come from a wealthy background. I'm going to introduce y'all to a book written by Warren Buffett's son. The same things I saw growing up, it's the same things he saw growing up. He didn't hang out in poverty neighborhoods. He watched more children deal with mental health issues, dealing with people who had a lot of material and economic backing. You know why? Because the father was out there getting the bag, made all the money. 18 years later, his kids is crazy because they never had their father because he was what? Securing the bag. Woman out here cheating. Why? Because he was securing the bag. And if a woman says to us one time, baby, I love you, but all this money means nothing if you ain't here to enjoy it with me. You know how many men I knew worked in factories, made great money, got the big fat retirement checks, and 6 months later, dead. Couldn't enjoy none of the money and the wealth they fought so hard to get. That's all. I agree with you when you say 16, 35, get on the grind, do this, do that, do this. But what's missing in a lot of these conversations, we're quick to dismiss some of the areas of the women. Is there women that just got stupid standards that ain't no man gonna make? Absolutely. And y'all know I'm gonna stand on my square when it comes to that. I just want to bring a little balance to a lot of my brothers. Like, hey, I'm with you if you're doing this. I just don't want you to get so caught up that you lose the very reason that you're going after the bag. We go after the bag to do what? Don't you want to be like Uncle Stu? Be able to be 50, sit back, relax. I'm doing YouTube as an investment. I can travel. I'm at my peace. I ain't got to be out there. Hey, I can retire her any day I want and don't have to worry about it. Why am I forcing the retirement? To spend more time. And that's what purpose and everything. I like something Tack Williams say. He breaks down finances. It's so simple that when it'll just pop your head. Hey, what do you need to make every day just to pay your rent? What do we really need? Oh, baby, all we need is $50. That's the best way to start a business. Baby, if I can just make $50 a day, I can buy that car. If I can just do this 5 times a day and I just got to figure out how much money I need to make per day. That's it. I don't want to over talk anybody because I
Can I
love
just
you.
can I just ask Uncle Stu, CKQ,
Sure.
with your permission?
Yeah, go ahead. Listen. Go ahead.
Go for it. Go for it.
Mikasa Sukasa.
Respectfully, Uncle Stu.
Yeah.
I think how you're speaking on it is a generational thing. The women of today are not the women from your generation. You dig what I'm saying? I think men today are dealing with a whole new breed of females. And respectfully, and I understand what you're saying because I have figured out the balance. But men have to go for what they go for them, not for no woman.
I didn't say that.
No. I'm not saying you.
No. I do understand the generation stuff. Don't get me wrong. Women you dealing with today is not the women I dealt with in the old. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I'm not saying you said that.
But that's the woman. But think about the name of the woman I gave you. Who was that name?
Ebony.
Right. So tell me about Ebony's character. Is Ebony the same type of women that's out here?
In the masses, no.
Bingo.
In the masses,
because
no.
I'm not trying to marry the masses. I just gotta find the one.
But what I'm saying is that I could be spending that time with that woman that you're saying and having that balance, and she could still cheat.
And then but you already got your insurance package. I trust me. I'm not telling you to do it my way.
Right. Sure.
I'm not telling you that. Matter of fact, I got Warren Buffett's son book, and I'm going to do a book review on his book. What I'm telling you is more from practical reality than going in. Because I'm going to tell any man, just like I have told many women, if you're going into the marriage with trust issue, don't get married. Because you've already destroyed your marriage. I got it. I understand what everybody trust and believe. Look, you're talking to a man who's been divorced. But I also have to live the life of, okay, I've been divorced. Let me put my little marital insurance to the side. But if I feel in me, this is just Uncle Stu, that if the woman I marry, I can't trust, I'm already going to fail in the marriage.
I understand what you're saying, and I get that. But my point is not worrying about what she's doing. My whole point to this is a man should be on his purpose for him. The day a woman decides that she wants to be with a man who's high earning, hardworking, and secure, she has to understand that this lifestyle is not all cherries and roses. There are going to be times when she is there by her lonesome. There are going to be times where she has to hold things down, and she has to understand that when she goes to pick that man, because as you said, a lot of the doctors and the other people you said get divorced, I believe that. But a lot of women have no idea what they're getting into before they get into it.
Can I ask you a question? Who picks who picks who? Can a woman pick a doctor, or does the man pick the woman?
The man picks the woman, but if she goes after a certain type of dude, she's going for a certain type of dude. I'm not stopping for nobody, but my woman understands that. She knew that when she got with me. And I think that's what attracted her to me. Now I have a balance. When we do our thing once a month, that's her time. That's her time. You know what I'm saying? So she gets that. But I'm not going to ever, and this is just me, and I say that respectfully, I'm not going to ever tell a brother to slow down, especially younger guys. I think you should go full throttle. I don't think you should ever stop. Now, if you got to throw a woman, at home.
Yeah, but think about where you're at. This is what I mean. You ready? I said, I totally agree with you. The 16 to 35, right? Totally agree. Now we're going from 35 to 50, right? But we also have to be honest. What's your profession? How many black men is in nursing and traveling nursing out here on these YouTube streets? How many black men are really engineers? Because it's funny. Now, I'm not saying you, because I know who you are.
Right.
But I want you to think about something. Ever since the six-figure stuff came out, everybody makes six figures online.
Yeah, everyone all of a sudden.
Everyone became economically high value.
They lying. They lying, Uncle Stu. They lying. They not making that money, man.
Register one at McDonald's all of a
They
sudden.
lying. They not even miscounting. They lying.
Right. Everybody making six figures and everybody got a prenup in their back pocket.
I think it's this, honestly, this whole this YouTube frenzy, it's created a huge mistrust.
Right. Now you got it.
I think a lot of men are stepping in front of women. Listen, I've literally spoken to women that have told me like, oh man, I wanted to date, everything was going so good, and out of nowhere he started this conversation about black men and black women, and I'm just like, why did that make sense for him to all of a sudden everything was going good, but now I'm going to start this conversation about black men and black women, and that's why these races of women are better and X, Y, Z, and it's like a lot of men don't. Right. The mating and dating dance is very screwed up right now, and I think the mistrust is on both sides.
Right.
And it doesn't help that men are being extremely vocal and emotional, because that's not how men should be moving. You get what I'm saying? Not the fact that they can voice what they think is an issue, but the fact that they sit and harp on it. The fact that they go outside in the world and move and still keep voicing, as opposed to work to fix, work to build.
Because I'm going to show you something real quick. You know what I accuse women of? And I accuse them all the time. Why are you taking on the poison of your grandmother? Her experiences that you ain't never experienced. You know what men are doing? Taking on the experiences of men that they never went through that experience. And I'm gonna show you two examples. I was on Raleigh's show. It was a guy that was sitting on the panel with me. This is when before the Billions was on the show. You know what the guy said? He was behind a meme, of course. And he goes, yeah, I'm going through it. Everybody on the panel, wow, yeah, I got 3 kids. She got mad at me because I wouldn't marry her. I said, I got a question. You mean 3 kids, 3 different mothers? No. He had 3 children by the same woman and was living with her for 10 years. Now I want you to think about that. So you telling me she was good enough to have your children
3 times.
3 times. And you couldn't figure out whether she was good enough to marry? Bro, you the problem, not her. Here's the other thing. I know that you're a nurse. Whether you work in a hospital or you travel, I know nurses make money. But I also know nurses work long hours. So I think any woman you deal with would already know what you're putting into your job. These brothers ain't working 60 hours. Kevin Samuels told them work 60 hours. Ain't no way in the world you working 60 hours and you online more than me and I'm retired. Do you understand? See, I break down. One of the things I do is I break down everybody's talking points. And when I show up and they come with talking points, I come with reality. And it messes people up every time because, well, so-and-so said, and this one, and I say, I heard exactly what they said. Bro, I've heard Kevin Samuels, and he told y'all you should be working 60 hours a week. Minimum. In order to make X amount of money, you're supposed to take your minimum amount of money and you're supposed to put it over here, ain't no way in the hell any of these people are doing that. You know, the only person I've ever seen do anything exactly the way Kevin Samuels did it is before the billions. He's the only one I know that has a real job, comes home, and work another 10 to 12 hours on his YouTube channel. The rest of these dudes, ain't no way in the world you telling me you working 60 hours a week when I see you online at 9 a.m., 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 8 o'clock, and then I'm surprised this platform ain't blown up. Where you working at if you online all day?
Hey, Uncle Stu, let me throw something in there real quick.
Yeah.
The video will be up on my YouTube channel tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay, but this morning, and I was explaining it to my friend earlier, this morning I get up at 5:30. I'm at my computers. I'm logged into my brokerage apps, looking at the market 6:10 a.m. this morning.
Right.
I log all my stuff, right? Okay. So 6:10 a.m. 6:45 a.m. I do my first trade. I make $428.46.
Right.
That's at 6:45 a.m.
Right.
That $428.46 turned into $688.26 at 7:36 this morning.
Right.
At 7:41, which was 5 minutes later, that $688 turned into $828. And then at about 30 minutes later, 45 minutes later, at 8:26 a.m., that turned into $917.
Now,
So by 8:30 this morning, from
Right.
6 o'clock this morning,
Right.
I'm cashed out $917. I ain't even brushed my teeth. I just got up and came in the other room.
Okay. Now watch this. You ready? How much reading did you do to learn how to do what you're doing?
Probably about, to be able to do what I do now, I'm 20 months in. So let's say
now
the
watch
first,
this.
Let's
You
say
20
the
months
first,
in, right?
Yeah, I'm 20 months in. So let's say the first 4 months, go
Right.
back 20 months, I was a
Right.
crash dummy.
Okay, stop right there.
Okay, go ahead.
Perfect statement. For the first 4 months, you was a book reading crash dummy, right?
Right.
You can't even get these brothers online to read one page.
Oh, I know.
Do you understand? See.
Or a Twitter quote.
Exactly. Now, what I'll say, you're right, but see, no one sees the back scene work to get you there.
Yeah.
See, high value nurse got to recognize he is not normal. And for anybody listening, I'm not talking about normal in his head.
No, I know what you mean. Yeah. Yeah, we know what you mean.
But he is not the norm. Therefore, he hangs out with Uncle Stu because I deal with everybody on a different level. The men in my back chat are six figures. They are in certain economic levels. They are in certain social networks. But they're in my back channel to educate these brothers who sitting up there lying about they got six figures and sitting up there lying about all this philosophy. You understand what I'm saying?
Exactly.
You can look at a brother and be like, come on, dude, really? Because you put in the work, you understand.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
You
No
feel
doubt.
me?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
When high value nurses talking, like I said, I'm going to recommend a book to him. It's not Uncle Stu, you of one generation. See, and there's no offense. I think sometimes we forget. Maybe we need to tap into the older generation just to eat the wisdom. They're not telling you you're wrong. They're showing you where you may make mistakes based on these 20-somethings that ain't never been married. They're taking on, just like I would say that if Bloom and Ebony said, well, Uncle Stu, these men will do this and these men will do that. And then I say, well, where'd you get the information from? Well, my grandmother and my mother said.
Absolutely.
And she never gave you a chance to be the man that wasn't her grandfather or that wasn't her father. Now, did I say things change? Absolutely. You know how they change? Me, CKQ talked about this. There's more black men who have done the work. They have leveled up. They are college educated. They are going into professions that's allowing them to make that money. They're doing that. That's why I put y'all on my platform. I don't put you up there because I just need to talk to somebody. I put you up there because I show the example of what good men are. What do they look like? And so when I, like, how old are you, high value nurse?
How old am I?
Yeah.
I'm 30.
Excellent. So you still got 5 years to go on your grind, according to your numbers, before you can think about a woman. So you got to keep pumping. You're not in the same category.
Well, I mean, I got a lady now, and like I said,
yeah.
had I had that mindset prior to coming
Mhm.
into my own, then things would probably be different. But again, she understands the hustle. But I want to address something CKQ said. CKQ, remember you said the mistrust that a lot of these men and these women have for one another.
Mhm.
When you look at these dudes, look at the dudes that are complaining, right? The dudes that are complaining about women and their life not going right and female nature and all this crap, most of these cats spend 90% of their time online. Most of
Right.
these cats are broke,
Right.
when the whole planet is hiring. Most of these men don't have their own place. Most of these men live with their mama. Most of these men are fat as hell. Now, men who are successful, had their money together, and had their looks together, all that kind of stuff, do they come online and complain? Seriously?
Well, let me get bold. Be honest with you, they're not online.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm
It's always
online.
the
Right.
ones that are broke.
But
It's
see,
always the one.
here's the funny part. Do you realize that the Generation Xers that come online, don't you know they're coming online to help and they're getting rejected? We already did the work. That's the funny part. We're not your generation that don't give a damn. And that's the miscommunication. Because technically, I don't need to be talking to nobody. I'm good. Do you understand? Do you get it?
I feel
I'm
you.
good. I could be like Tat Williams right now and just be like, no what, forget y'all. I don't need you. I can go talk to my own job. I can go
Goals.
and yeah. I mean, do you understand? So when a generation that is 2 generations ahead of you get online and say, hey, let's have a conversation. Hey, young man, you might be going to the right. Let me tell you about going to the left. Oh, okay. I got, but if he's praising you, he already see the work you're doing. And then what does he do? He looks at a blooming ebony and go, hey, sister, you okay? I know they calling you a pick me. I know they calling you out your name. But girl, the pick me will get picked and the non-pick me will be sticked. That's the whole key of I want a wife, not a knife. And a lot of times we'll overlook a blooming ebony. This is what women do, but I'm going to just show it on the man's side. They'll overlook a blooming ebony all because one day she said, hey, I like blue over yellow. Ah, she ain't submissive. Look, that's her match.
Facts.
And they just explode. And it's like, wait a minute, dude. What kind of woman you think ain't gonna have an opinion? Like, where's your mindset?
That's why that whole question, what do you bring to the table? I think it's brought in a lot more. It's trying to start an argument. It's never really brought in good faith.
I'm gonna tell you something. When y'all get a chance, don't do it now because y'all on live. If you go to my live I did tonight, it's funny you said that. I had a woman. I think if you heard her, you'd be like, yes, that's the woman we need, you know. Positive, rah, 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 rah. And I had someone get on the platform. Now remind you, everybody's praising her in the chat. Everybody, you know, women praising her, men praising her. Woo, woo, woo. I got somebody, and then they came out with some philosophical question. And I had to stop the question because if you ask the average woman, well, what do you believe about the ego? And it's like, wait a minute, dude. What? Ego?
What's that have to do with anything?
You see, and it's like, okay, I don't even know what the heck you're talking about. I know ego from a psychiatry, and I know ego from when we say, okay, he got an ego, he's got out, da da. But what are you asking? So I had to educate him to say, dude, are we intentionally communicating just to get a talking point across, or are we communicating to get information? See, like when High Value Nerd says, hold up, Uncle Stu, I want to ask you this question. Hold up, man. I want to challenge what you just said. I want to challenge this. I'm never going to stop him. Come on. Because I'm letting him know I acknowledge you as a man. I acknowledge your questions. I acknowledge who you are. I'm not dismissing them. I'm going to take your question. Then I'm going to show you something else. But I need him to recognize you're not them. See, because we can get toxic too. You're not them. You're not them. You was on a boat and a cruise and chilling, and these dudes ain't never been out there city. So even you got to recognize, I'm not really these dudes. I need to hang out with Uncle Stu because his back channels are Tack Williams. His back channels are brothers that's in my circle. His brothers are, they trying to build. So Uncle Stu really wants me to educate the uneducated on how to become me. There are men that need to level up to your level. You, the 30-year-old, I need to be put in front of a high school where black men could say, oh, I can become a nurse and go to school for 2 years and I can make this kind of. Do you understand? See how I see you already? I got 5 years for you. Because I can't talk to the 20-something generation. They're not going to listen to me. They're not going to listen to Tack Williams. But they'll listen to you. They'll listen to the Blooming Ebony. They'll listen to my sister Keeper. They'll listen to him. So you have to make the effort and say, all right, let me sit under the feet of the older generation. Let me get them. And I'm not going to tell you that everybody that's old got knowledge. Everybody that's old got. I'm not going to tell you that. Because when I was 20, there was stuff I didn't want to hear no 50-year-old tell me. I get it. But at the same time, that knowledge ended up showing up in my 30s. Then it showed up in my 40s. And now here I am. And there's an old wisdom that says the older I get, the dumber I feel and the wiser my father becomes. So keep the questions going. Keep the fight going. And ask the hard, tough questions. Challenge. It's all right to challenge me because I'm never going to say I'm full authority. Challenge it. But then when you challenge it, you know what I'm going to ask you? What's your experience in the things you're challenging? Because if you acknowledge, I got a good woman, everybody else is dismissed. I can tell you, yeah, there's a lot of bad apples, but I got a good one, so I'm good. And I'm so good that yes. And I said it many times. Baby, if you ever decide to leave, you can take all the material things you got. I'm good. I can make that back up because when I gave it to her, I gave it to her out of love. It didn't come out of, oh, I'm struggling. I'm giving you my last $5. When I gave, I know I can replace whatever I give because I'm confident in myself. And a lot of men, and Tack Williams, you can help me with this. A lot of men is giving poison to younger men without the whole narrative being spoken.
Oh, no doubt.
Is there a situation with the court system? Yes. Is there a situation with child support? Yeah. And you'll hear me say, I back this, I back this, I back this. There's no doubt. But because I've been divorced, I'm not going to sit here and poison you with my divorce issues.
Yeah. Yeah. Hurt people hurt people, right?
Right. If I had a good man, and he says, Uncle Stu, I'm online. I've been doing this. I've been in your Patreon. I've been working, and I can physically go to a city and see he's good. And again, I'm gonna just use you, Blooming Ebony. And I say, well, you know what? I know a woman who is already marriage minded. She's been through Naomi school, which means wife school. Here you go. There will be, and he's been vetted by the Tack Williams. The only man that can validate a man is other men. And a lot of times, not you, High Value, so don't put yourself in this. But the problem with a lot of men is that they ain't been validated by man. For all these Kevin Samuels followers, what did Kevin Samuels even teach? Only a man can validate a man. And what you got is boys trying to validate boys. But they ain't been validated by a grown man. That's why Tack Williams can look and go, nah, man, you ain't ready for this.
Exactly.
You ain't ready to do Tack Williams type work. You ain't ready to take on a Blooming Ebony. Are you kidding me? If Blooming Ebony came home from work and said, you know, baby, I'm tired. I just want to go to bed tonight. Oh, these dudes would have a heart attack. They would fold. She don't want to submit. And you want to know what the proof of the pudding is? If you go back 4 or 5 months, look how the manosphere treated Courtney Michelle.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as Courtney Michelle stood up for black men and stood up for the black community against the man that said black culture is trash, all of a sudden she became masculine. She became this. She became that. She became everything but a woman. Tack Williams will tell you, dude, you ain't never heard a woman express her opinion?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want a dummy. I don't want a woman I can't talk to. I don't want a woman that, hey, I'm running my business. She might know some, and I got a list. I don't want that. I don't want a dummy. I don't want a yes ma'am around me. I want my woman to be able to say, hey, you was online, seen you talking to this person. Hey, you may need to be doing this type of content versus this type of content. Hey, you may be needing to do this over this. I don't know.
I spoke to my daughter. Me and her mom, we're not together, but this was years ago. And I'd say to her, I said, don't you hear your mom and your stepdad arguing sometimes, disagreeing? And she says, yeah, Dad, I do. I said, you know why your mom can do that? Because your mom knows how powerful she is. She has a master's degree. She was already working at the telephone company as an analyst when she met your stepdad. See, if you don't think enough about yourself and put yourself in the position, then you get into these marriages and relationships, and your thoughts and ideas will be provided to you. You won't have your own. And that's why in a lot of these relationships, both men and women, it's on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
You'll notice that one partner provides not only the ideas and thoughts to the other, but gives them the answer also.
Right.
And they have to sit there and take it because they have no stake, no representation in that home, no self-worth when it comes to that. And that's why, yeah, it's cool to have that man or that woman with all of the financial things and the luxuries of life. But if you don't have self, if you don't realize self, that's a situation that you might open yourself. I'm not talking to nobody here. I used to just explain that to my daughter to make the point to her that if you don't follow yourself and understand how powerful you are and pursue your education and put yourself in the way of doing something that excites you career-wise for humanity or whatever, you will get into a relationship, and that guy will be providing your thoughts and ideas to you. You won't even have a voice.
Right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Uncle Stu is about to leave. I got my nephew here, and I'm gonna hang out with my nephew for a while, see what's going on in his life, his dating world, and all that other good stuff, and high value nerds. What day did I have to reschedule you? I had to reschedule you, right?
I think the 19th. Yeah, the 19th.
Okay. All right. I got my sister Keeper coming in on the 20th. Boy, y'all keeping an old man working. Blooming Ebony, I was trying not to get you because, being that you was hanging out before the billions. But since, CKQ got these high value brothers up here.
They picked me. I didn't pick them. Listen.
See, you the man. You the
man.
man.
When you're wanted, it just happens. You know what I'm saying?
I'll probably be reaching out to you, but I'll probably use you more as a panelist. So I'll let you know what I'm thinking. Just come in and help my sister Keeper. She gonna have it lit. We're gonna talk about some good stuff. All right. Hey, I love y'all. Keep rocking. High value nerds. Now you can always shoot me a check now and again. I know you go do the blood pressure thing and come back with like 5 G's just to do blood pressure. I ain't mad at you though.
I'm broke. I ain't got
okay. Hey, he forgot. He on my Instagram. I saw that pimp look. Oh, he got a pimp look. Oh, this is dressed down. He got a pimp look.
With the glasses?
Oh, yeah. You know what I'm saying? he was flexing out there on the pitches.
Yeah, I don't know what they talking about.
Hey, look, you right. You know what they say, right? The electronic footprint don't get erased.
That's it. It's facts.
So, hey, we got you. Clickbait the whole 9. We got you, bro. I see your pimp style. I ain't mad at you though.
Uncle Stu, this show has ran on far longer than I expected, but we're actually going to close out the panel now. So I don't know if you want to close out the panel with us.
Sure.
Tack Williams, start us off. You want to give a shout out?
Hey, I just want to say thank you for having me on your panel, and I appreciate the content that you're putting out. And yeah, man, keep up the great work, and let's just keep this community growing. And I'm always attracted to the positive. Not necessarily everybody agreeing, but that has nothing to do with it. If we're disagreeing to grow, then it's worth disagreeing. So yeah, man, thank you for having me.
Of course. We got Danielle.
Hi, my name's Danielle. You can find me on Instagram at FlyNurseMomWife or here on YouTube at My Sister's Keeper. And on the 20th on Uncle Stu's platform.
Get it. We got Neek.
Hi, I'm Nika Knight. Thank you very much for having me here. You don't know your friend sometimes. He say things to get me riled up. Anyway, come to Married Ladies Opinions on Instagram, 3 Married Ladies Opinions podcast, Facebook group. And you can find us on Spotify as well and SoundCloud. Or wherever YouTube find podcasts. Thank you.
You got Chris.
Hello, I'm Chris. My channel is called The Blooming Ebony, and you can also follow me on Instagram at The Blooming Ebony. And I don't think I got to answer the question, so I'll say really quickly. If you're not growing, you're dying. That's basically my answer to that question about complacency.
Wow.
Always stay in bloom, and don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to CKQ Clement podcast or podcast. Sorry, Clement. Have a good night, everyone.
I love it. We got CJ, the high value nurse.
My bad, y'all was muted. What's good, everybody? My name is CJ. In the YouTube streets, I'm known as the high value nurse, though. Shout out to CKQ, man, for doing a very well panel. Always a good time to pull up. And like I said, man, y'all check me out, subscribe to the channel. Shout out to everybody who joined up, Uncle Stu, Tack, Neek, Danny, Chris, everybody who just who spit some ism tonight. And fellas, y'all know how I feel. 16 to 30, stay on your grind. Even if you got to put some hot sauce in the joint, like the boy Drake. So, yeah, man. But no, I'm just playing. But subscribe to the channel. Y'all also go check out the Traveling Heartbeats. That's the channel that me and my lady do together. We take our trips once a month, and we just show y'all how to have a good time. So appreciate it.
And last but not least, we got Uncle Stu, the old man on the block.
Well, I just want to say thank you for allowing me on your platform. I definitely enjoyed it. Everybody come out on the 20th, where I'm going to have my sister Keeper. We're going to have a good time. But yeah, subscribe to my channel. Uncle Stu, the old man on the block, giving intellectual conversation, elevating the game in every situation. All right. Thank y'all.
On that note, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a fantastic night. A lot of great points, who you agreed with, disagreed with, but it was all out of respect and all out of love and all out of growth. Catch us back here again next Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. We will be back here having the same kind of conversations, trying to help the community whatever way we can. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, it's been fun.
If we're doing everything right, I think we should be vetting our wives, like go to their parents, go to their fathers.
They know they shouldn't have let me start speaking my mind in the booth, start speaking the truth. Might get shot.
I think you're just saying, okay, actions have consequences, and I'm not going to support this person's actions. Like, you don't have to cancel them and say, like, I hate you.
Innocent lives have to die.
But the whole thing is men are I also. That man was on the other side doing the exact same thing, and his decision with his eyes was to walk away.
Inside your soul.
Now we can paint the perfect picture without belittling each other, because under God's system,
we are equipped to handle that responsibility, but not every man is fit to handle that responsibility.
I done seen Flint, Michigan,
and it's just being
cities. They pissing in project buildings that got a roof that leaks, resulting in missing ceilings. Hard to sleep. Children going to schools dealing issues deep.
So I think society does make it more difficult for short men, but I don't think that it's impossible that they can find someone.
And expecting you to do your part. It ain't hard to see they trying to keep black in the back, just like Rosa Parks. Cops shooting blacks as if they get a token from God. School robbery with needed resources.
It's the weaker vessel and the more vulnerable.
Absolutely, 100%.
You don't look at the man like, oh, poor son, you were violated. No, you like, right.
And nobody. They shift my stick like some cars. And when you're lonely in your darkest thoughts, come, I know it's hard, but God shines his light on all I play their part. And it's the start.
Put myself in a situation where I can only rely on a man. Like if I'm married and being a stay-at-home mom, I need to have a backup in case anything happens. I can't only rely on him. You know what I'm saying?
A flower will grow once you plant the seed inside your soul.
See, I'm a poet, and the best part of me shows it here to speak the message of what is known but